Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Okay. Hope everybody's finding this show in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, okay? We always gotta find a way to bless the show before we get the show going, okay? And every day is a blessing to be on this planet. Something really bad happened and things are percolating out in Minneapolis right now as we speak. It has been absolutely insane. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get to you guys earlier to break this news to you guys, but I've been following this. This is absolutely insane. And there's a lot of, this is split. Some people are saying this is a justified situation. Some people are saying it is not. The mayor of this city is saying that this was not justified. This is absolutely crazy. There's some press conferences. There's eyewitness accounts. There's all kinds of things that we need to get into. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button, please, as well. If you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I'm going to remind you guys about that again in a second. But TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. I'm on all of them. So make sure you are literally following this platform on those platforms, okay? And especially, I'm going to say it, especially that Facebook. I'm giving you guys updates, bang, 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 with everything from political to true crime, even the pop culture and all the mucky in between, because there's a lot of craziness going on. So make sure you are following that Facebook page. Follow me on my TikTok. I'll remind you guys this in a second here as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and the third channel, Pascal Raw. Make sure you're subscribed to all three channels. Hit that notification bell. Let it know that you're interested in knowing whenever I go live or whenever I upload some content, because it's random and a lot of it is breaking news like this kind of stuff right here. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out that Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Please and thank you. PascalMerch.com. We got really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get straight into this because I have a feeling that Minneapolis is going to have a very long night. I just have a feeling. The reason why I'm saying this is because people are out in the streets right now as we speak, protesting on what just happened just a few hours ago. Just a few hours ago, a woman in her car, okay, a motorist, some would say, was in her car. They're riding as we speak right now. Word, Barbie? Barbie mommy? For real though? Okay, that's news to me. I'm looking at this, and this is all live right now as we speak, okay? People are very angry about what just happened. We're going to be looking at a bunch of different videos, a bunch of different clips. I'm going to have to give you guys a fair warning. There's footage that I can't show you, okay? Because it depicts a woman losing her life. So there's footage that I can't really show to you unless it's blurred. You see what I'm saying? Because of these platforms and how these platforms be working, okay? So I'm just letting you know. And I get it, that it's going to split the room. This conversation and this topic is going to split the room. Why, you may ask? Because, and I want to hear what he has to say too, so I'm going to pause it right here. Why, you may ask? Because people are saying that she tried to mow somebody down, that she was trying to mow an officer down. Some other people are saying she clearly was just trying to get away from the situation. She was trying to get away from ICE. So let me explain. In Minneapolis, there has been a huge presence of ICE agents in the area. This all stems from, let's not forget, Nick Shirley. It goes back a little bit. What we're going to do now is go back, okay? We're going to go back. You know what I mean? You know, we're going to go back into our memories. Remember when Nick Shirley, conservative YouTuber Nick Shirley went into Minneapolis and basically knocked on every Somali's house and Somali's door, Somali daycares, and said, "Where are the kids at?" Right? Where the kids at? Rapping on people's doors, right? Then this caused a lot of interest and a lot of looksy-loos in this particular direction, not only by social media, by the court of public opinion, but also by Trump. So Trump deployed a whole bunch of troops, ICE agents, out to Minneapolis, and they descended upon Minneapolis like the likes you've never seen. So now we're here, okay? And that was a very, very broad stroke breakdown. But they showed up and they're literally taking people. They're not playing, especially with everything that's been going on with this whole Somali fraud, daycare fraud situation. So they're out there. They're lurking, and they're looking to take some people down. And that's exactly what they did, or that's what they're doing. So enter this moment right here. Just a few hours ago, a woman was in her car, apparently, allegedly, well, obviously, not allegedly, but obviously there was a lot of commotion going on in the streets. There are people that are protesting the fact that ICE agents are even in the area. They're not cool with this. So this woman, I'm assuming, I feel like it's safe to say, was also a protester, someone who is not okay with ICE being there. ICE approached her car and said, "Get out the effing car," right? As they're trying to open her car, her driver's side door. And she speeds off. As she speeds off, an agent that was in front of the car, I saw the video, guys. He did get clipped. As he's getting shoved off the car, he pulls the trigger. He pulls the trigger, taking her life. Car goes into basically a dead speed. It just goes, it accelerates and goes straight into a parked car, right? And of course, everybody's like, what the F are you, what did you do? Blah, 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 right? I'm sorry. I saw the clip, or I saw the video. I saw multiple angles. I had time to look at this. But I don't, okay. I'm just going to say it out loud. I don't think she was trying to run the guy down. I honestly think that she was just trying to get away. That's what I think. I don't think she was literally trying to aim for the agent, but he was in her trajectory and he just kind of like slid off the hood and bow, he pulled the trigger, and now she's no longer with us. So just so you guys know, this is what I saw multiple angles. I saw it. I seen it. His leg is like getting swept off the ground, right? As the vehicle's passing through, right? He does get hit. I'm sorry. Now, yes, the agent did move towards the vehicle as well. I'm not justifying the act. Let me just say that. I'm not justifying the act. I'm just telling you what I saw. This has nothing to do with it being justified or unjustified. I don't have a verdict on that yet. What I think is, what's up? The instant question I have is, what's up with training? What's the training here? You got people who are getting jobs that are like, come on and become a part of ICE. We will give you a $50,000 signing bonus, a recruiting bonus, on top of we'll take care of all your college debts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What kind of training do these people have? Are these cop wannabes? You know what I mean? These dudes that are out here that cosplay like they're 5-0, but they never really were 5-0 at all. But they wear the back the blue gear, and they do burpees and work at a CrossFit box. You see what I'm saying? And now they finally get an opportunity because they didn't get a chance to pass whatever they needed to pass to become a police officer, right? That now they get a chance to really enforce the law by becoming an ICE agent. I'm just saying, where's the training? Because again, something like this should not have happened, guys. This should not have happened. This woman should not have lost her life this way. Why do ICE agents have the access to use deadly force? Why do they even have weapons in the first place? If they're just nabbing like weapons that are deadly weapons, I mean, and I'm not saying deadly weapons like, like them having a taser or mace or something, because you definitely been seeing all of them out here with them pepper sprays and them pepper bullets, and they're hitting people like crazy with those things. We've seen plenty of that. But what's up with the training? What is the training behind this, guys? What qualifies them to be part of this unit? These are all questions that deserve to be answered. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying what she did was right or what she did was wrong. All I know is that this was deadly force, and was it necessary? Period. Was it necessary? I think that's a question that we all should be asking. This is something that we all should be concerned about. And there's also been footage. We've already seen it, guys. Y'all seen it. So maybe some of y'all avoid it as much as you can. Maybe some of you guys are seeing it in real time and seeing it and reposting it, sharing it, whatever, or reacting to it viscerally. But we are seeing these things where they will pull up to people's cars and just throw like pepper spray a car randomly because the person said like F ice or something crazy like that. You see what I'm saying? Like these guys are lawless agents that feel like they can do whatever they want. Why? Because their faces are masked up. That's not good. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for them believing that they can do anything and everything they want, and they know they're going to get away with it because bang, everything's being covered up. You see what I'm saying? So those things I think are very important. Like I said, there's a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of different opinions. Was this unaliving justified? Was it not? I leave that up to you. But there is something that is true. She drove. The agent was in front of the car. He did advance towards the car. She tried to get out of the way. I don't know if she was trying to get out of the way at that time or if she was literally trying to hit the guy. But she did make contact with that officer, and he pulled the trigger. Just so you know. Just so you know. I'm sure we're going to see some variation of that video, okay, that's blurred out and everything, and you'll see it for yourself, right? So let us take a look at this, all right? Let's take a look at some of this. There was a press conference earlier that we're going to be looking at as well. The governor, okay, well, soon to be retired governor, Tim Walz apparently had a press conference, or is supposed to be having a press conference here soon as well. So like I said, there's a lot to dissect and look at and talk about. But let's hear what this reporter has to say really quick. And there's an eyewitness account as well that we need to take a look at as well.
Things continue to unfold, and as we continue to get more and more details, but clearly the community response has been consistent. It has been on how they feel, and they did not give up until police left this area.
All right, thank you, Leon. Yeah, this is the first time that we're seeing this video of the vehicles being let down Portland Avenue at all today since this happened. As Leon mentioned, you could see what he says, crossing guards, the people in the bright yellow vest there. They're kind of just conducting, helping with traffic, as we're in the middle of the afternoon right now. This is a residential area, by the way, guys. There are a lot of homes up and down Portland Avenue there. So you can imagine people maybe trying to get home, leaving their homes. This is the first time that they are able to do so because all of this area was blocked off by that crime tape. So again, you were looking at some aerial shots here as we are watching people walk down the streets. Now that this street is open, people are using that to then walk down the road here as police are now gone, as Leon says, from what he sees from his viewpoint.
Yeah, and this is what part of the crowd that was behind some of those vehicles as they were kind of escorting them out from the back and making sure that the vehicles got out. Some of them throwing snowballs, but now kind of turned into almost kind of like a march. Yeah, it looks like they're kind of continuing on down the street. we are awaiting, and at any moment, I don't know if we have a shot up. There it is. This is a press conference that we are told we're going to hear from Governor Walz coming up here momentarily. It was supposed to start about 15 minutes ago, so we'll bring that to you as soon as it does. He has activated the State Emergency Operations Center just to make sure that they have a singular clearinghouse. It's just part of the protocol whenever there's something like this happening, to make sure that all the communication is clear and efficient. And so that is happening as well. A little earlier, it was probably about, what time did we come out here? Was it in 2? 12:15. It was 12:15 when we heard from Mayor Jacob Fry, who had some very, very
around 100 people, Morgan specifically, who did the story yesterday, about 100 people were being trained. And when they say trained, these are ways of how to properly document some of these incidents, which could be by the use of your phone, putting things in writing, telling people what their constitutional right is, because some people just don't know. And some people have a lot of questions and they don't know. They may see an officer and say, I don't know how to respond. Yeah. And so what they are doing is trying to give people resources and advice.
Okay, one second, guys, because I do want to. I know a lot of y'all are wanting to see some semblance of this incident. So I'm going to show you guys one side of it for right now, because there's other sides of it that are being shared like crazy. So I'm going to share this side. Okay. This is kind of tough to see, but all the action happens right over here. Okay. So let's take a look. So that's what happened. And you can see the agent that's by the car, he's getting bumped off. He is. I'll show it to you guys one more time. I think there's another spot where they show like, I saw it on X. There's like a zoomed in. I'm going to find it. I'll show it to you guys in a second. But I just want you guys to see what I see, right? Now, again, is this justified? That's the question. It is without question, by the way, that the car is driving. The agent is on the car, and you can see him like get off like that. Boom, boom, like that. And he pulls the trigger. So again, she was turning right. She was turning right. That's what I think too. She was turning right. My gut reaction is, I don't think that she was trying to hit the guy. I don't think that she was trying to take him down. I think she was trying to get away. That's what I truly think. But the facts are the facts. Car drove, that made contact with that officer or that agent or that person, whatever the hell he is. Okay? Can they do this? Is this justified? I leave this up to you guys, but take a look one more time. And we all saw the next. So again, people are angry out in the streets, understandably. They're watching all this. The people who saw that, we're going to be listening to we're going to be hearing from an eyewitness as well, hearing what they, talking about what they saw and all that as well. So again, this is just absolutely crazy. Trump did come out with a statement though, so we got to take a look at this as well. They're reading it for us, but I'm going to say it anyway. He says, "I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator." What? "And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have, pulled the trigger on her in self-defense." What? Wow. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, because there's another angle that he saw, which we will most likely see here as well. And I'll probably stop it before the trigger is pulled. Okay. But again, wow. That's interesting that he just said that, but okay, let's see.
In self-defense. He then went on to say, based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe that he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis.
Before this happened was the fact that on Capitol Hill today, there was some testimony with a House Oversight Committee who heard from
Governor Walz
lawmakers.
talking.
Let's listen into Governor Walz.
Let's hear what he says. Does he think this is justified or not?
Good afternoon. Today I'm joined by Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson, Colonel Schaefer of the Minnesota National Guard, and Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this, please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
Oh, wow.
I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Word? National Guard? Word? He is getting ready. Oh, damn.
Thank you, Governor.
Oh, my damn. This is bad.
As the governor mentioned, my name is Bob Jacobson. It is my honor to serve as the commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. First of all, I want to acknowledge the reason that we are all here. The loss of life is not anything anyone would ever want. We fully expect that the community will want to peacefully demonstrate their anger or frustration. Minnesota residents and visitors have the right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and certainly a desire to be heard. Our role is to help ensure everyone can express themselves without anyone getting hurt. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's role through the Minnesota State Patrol is to ensure safety, protect constitutional rights, keep roads accessible, and above all, to prevent harm. Our top priority is public safety. Our focus is keeping demonstrators, community members, drivers, and law enforcement safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. Demonstrations must remain safe and lawful, particularly around roadways. We will join with our partners to support safety while respecting the right to protest. With that in mind, I'd like to share a few safe and lawful ways to demonstrate. Minnesotans can safely and legally express their views in many ways, including getting together peacefully with others in public spaces, marching or walking, not on roadways, making your voice heard through chants, speeches, and displaying signs, being present in public areas where pedestrians are allowed, gathering in designated or permitted areas, and these actions will allow people to express themselves while protecting the safety of everyone involved. Unsafe or illegal actions could result in fines or arrests. Certain behaviors create serious hazards that threaten public safety, disrupt emergency services, or put people at risk. These actions could result in fines or arrest. Demonstrating on or entering a freeway on foot, walking on highways, throwing objects, starting or setting fires, damaging property or graffiti, using illegal fireworks, displaying or using illegal weapons, reckless or dangerous driving, especially near pedestrians, and certainly assaultive, aggressive, or riotous behavior toward anyone. We all want definitive answers to what happened today. Our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is working in conjunction with the FBI to investigate this morning's shooting. As you know, we don't comment on active investigations, but also keep in mind that this is an investigation is also in its infancy. So any speculation about what had happened would be just that. And we will not engage in speculation. With that, I will turn it back over to the governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'd be glad to take any questions.
Oh boy, here we go. National Guard.
Yeah, and I can let General Schaefer talk about this. It so happens it's a training weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our sites, training sites across the state. What it is, and in the National Guard, you give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would need, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I could let the general talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since the summer of 2020, we had a lot of work done on teams being ready to make sure that civil unrest, and what that means, and I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need. Simon, you want to say a few things about what that means to have them on the ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. So for the military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen. We live all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that is ready at all times, and maybe some additional phone calls to service members who might be activated, but no activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the Operations Center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
Thanks, Joe. And I would make note, Mary, and to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you, or what we saw today, the tragedy. Having them at the ready to make sure, because when we see these types of things happen, and we saw it after the murder of George Floyd, there's folks that want to cause chaos. There's the disruptors in it. And while the vast majority of those protests were peaceful expressions of their First Amendment rights, there were those that destroyed property and put people at risk. The National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done, and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that. Yes.
What is your threshold for activating the National Guard? You're talking about large-scale demonstrations, but
Yeah.
the demonstrations after these ice raids have been increasing in tension to the point when we saw one shot today.
Yeah, and I think apparently by a federal agent, not by Minnesotans who were there to express their First Amendment rights. I think we've seen this to have folks ready. The gatherings that were down there today, I think this shocked everyone.
Man.
People showed up as they should. There's people putting flowers down on a memorial. There's people expressing their anger. It's just as these situations develop, we decide when we need to move these people out. And I think the local reporters know well on this, both unfortunately and for us, the upside of this is that we're very good and we've had practice at this. And I just want to again implore Minnesotans. I am not telling you not to express your anger or your frustrations or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday, and it was totally avoidable. And I just want to remind you, too, that local law enforcement, we get no coordination. They don't tell us they're coming. They don't say why they're sending the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not making us any safer. We don't have any of that coordination. They should be talking to us when we do these things. Let us know we're going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't have that. So when you see local law enforcement or state patrol, or if it would take the National Guard, we're there responding to the chaos they've created too. But our role is to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen. I have not. The question was, have I spoken to the individual's family? No, we do not have a definitive ID on this individual. And I look, I'm going to note to all of you, I think it's really important, and the professionals do this, and they train me to do this. This is an open investigation. You need to be very careful about it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch, one where there's a family member watched their family member be shot and killed in front of them. It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle. We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is a human being. This very well is an individual's child, a parent. And we don't know that yet. So, no, I have not. But once we do, we will. So, yes. Please.
You mentioned adding to the state patrol. Could you say more about how many state patrol people are?
Colonel, would you like to do that?
And then also,
Colonel.
So the governor was mentioning mobilizing more of the state patrol. How many state patrol people are on the ground in Minneapolis right now? And should there have been more state patrol people on the ground a couple of weeks ago when I came?
So the question was, how many state patrol troopers have been deployed to the city of Minneapolis? Right now, we don't talk typical numbers because that is considered security information. We do have a specialized team that does deal with crowd control. And so they have been deployed. But again, they are from all over the state of Minnesota. So they will come in tiers to the state.
And they had already been on the ground to some extent before today?
No, it was in response to this event.
One more. Sorry, just to clarify the intention of deploying the National Guard, is there any chance that the National Guard can deploy against federal agents to protect Minnesotans?
I'm sorry. What was it?
National Guard, was the National Guard ever deployed against federal agents to protect Minnesotans, given the context of what happened earlier today?
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. There's the federal mission when they're under Title 10 orders, and then they're under Title 32 orders. And this warning order, there's nothing officially been done yet. If I am to activate them as the commander-in-chief of the Minnesota National Guard, I will issue the executive order to the Minnesota National Guard, and then they will be put in state duty status. And as you've seen over the last few years, that could be flood prevention. That could be after a wind blowing storm up in the north, up in Bemidji, or it could be COVID or George Floyd response. In this case, again, it doesn't necessarily change the mission. They're there to protect Minnesotans. They're there to serve Minnesotans. I think the thing that is so challenging in the moment we're in is We don't see a desire to work with us on public safety. We hear a demonization of our state. We see people coming in who don't know our community. And we see this massive display for the TVs that we're trying to understand how is this coordinated. And some of you watch the videos on there, total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After this person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you. And I don't quite know how to respond to the question other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time. And I want to be very careful. It's unprecedented that we have the federal government's already determined exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual that we don't even know the name. They don't know the name. And that's very difficult. So, well, one more, Dana. Look, and I understand the uniqueness of this moment in this week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in D.C. My job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation where an individual is in their car, shot and killed. And
boy,
look, I want to be very cautious here because Donald Trump will make this about me. He will make this about politics. This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary, and I don't know. I hope. Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency?
I hate to pause this really quick. I don't mean to pause this, but David just said something that I think is very interesting. It could be very telling, and we need to talk about that just for 2 seconds. If this is true, if what David said is, and he even said it too. I mean, they even talked about how, the reaction, how they, how they treated the crime scene was just dismal. Okay, was just deplorable, right? So if they really did disrupt the crime scene rather than by quickly securing the crime scene, regular law enforcement type of training, that shows to you that definitely shows to you the lack of training, right? The lack of procedure when it comes to a crime, when it comes to a situation like this. You see what I'm saying? This is the reason why I'm asking, what's the story with the training of these agents? Yeah, I know everybody out here going FAFO, F around and find out, FAFO, 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 right? And I get it. I get what you're saying. Because F around and find out is the new version of play the stupid games, win stupid prizes. Remember that from a couple years ago? So FAFO, or F around and find out, is now the thing, right? So here's the thing. If they were not able to secure, they did not do standard procedure in securing the crime scene, making sure that, they didn't touch anything, didn't tamper with anything, etc. That obviously shows to you, there's a possibility of lack of training here. That these guys are just cowboys, potentially. Okay? I'm just saying, like I said, I'm asking the questions about the whole thing. I'm not talking about whether this is justified or not. I'm asking if the training, if that was part of standard training, or if this guy got hired, got thrown out there, and he just started pulling the trigger just because, right? Again, crazy stuff. But let's continue. I didn't mean to interrupt this, but I think that was a very important piece of information right there. So, David, thank you so much for that information.
We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever, and I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed, and they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And let's let this investigation play itself out.
That's not going to happen.
Let's make sure we protect our neighbors. I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
Diggity damn. Let me just say this.
In Portland that happened.
Okay, so here's the thing. And of course, thank you so much for this local news station for being live on YouTube. Of course, without this, we would just be lost right now. Now, there's another press conference that we need to look at because the mayor did do a press conference a few hours ago, right after this whole situation went down. Obviously, everyone has their particular position on this situation. And again, the court of public opinion has been very quick to hop on one particular side or the other very, very quickly, right? We got to talk about it all. I think okay, let's be real. There are going to be people out here that are going to say whatever they need to so it stands close to how they feel and with their bias as far as whatever's going on with ICE. If they don't like ICE being there, they're going to instantly say that this is not a justified situation. If they loved or love ICE being there, what's going to happen? They are literally going to be like, this is totally justified, 110%, right? Of course, there's going to be people out here that are going to rejoice. Or not rejoice, but say that this was justified and do the FAFO, right? FAFO, man, you know? And I get it. But at the same time, I still have questions about this whole situation as well. Is this part of their standard procedure? Is this part of their standard training? Is this what you would consider? Was that the right thing to do? I think a lot of people are going to ask that question as well. But first, I do need to share with y'all the other angle, okay? Because you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see this angle a lot. They're going to be showing this a lot. And again, viewer discretion is advised. I have to share this, just a little bit of this with you guys, okay? This is the other angle. There's a lot of cursing in here, just a full-on heads up. But, you know, take a listen to what's going on and watch what's going on here too. You saw that, right? I got to stop right there. Because he fired the gun. Just so you know. It's crazy because you see him pull the gun out. He pulls it out as she's backing up the car. He instantly pulls out the weapon. Just so you know. But are we having another George Floyd situation on our hands? I think we might. Has anybody identified this woman yet? Do we even know who this woman is? Do we know her age? Do we know if she has kids? Do we know, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we know anything right now? Yeah, this is very George Floyd. Wait for it. This is another George Floyd situation. And what's crazy, even crazier, that is happening in Minneapolis again. Oh, my dear God. Take a look. I'm stopping it right before he, pulls the pew pew. I'm just letting you guys know, okay? Because if you want to watch it, I put it up on my Facebook page. So you can go check it out over there on Facebook. All right. And somebody's, oh my Lord, she was Caucasian. Star Fury, she was Caucasian. Okay. Okay. But she was also somebody clearly who was saying F ICE. Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. Yeah. Nicole B, I'm actually shocked. What? Excessive force, 100%. Woo, okay. No, I'm not, no disrespect. I'm just saying, everyone, with situations like this, like I said, every person's perspective is going to change, right? Especially with the situation. You can't just stand on the side of ICE just because you like what they're doing. If it's not justified and you truly feel in your heart of hearts it's not justified, then you say it's not justified because of what you saw. But if you are somebody who's on the side of anti-ICE and you're saying that it wasn't justified, but you see it and you're like, well, she did drive that car and then she did kind of hit that dude. So it kind of is justified. It's kind of justified. Then you say it's justified. Your bias should not be the thing that makes you determine what side you're going to be on with a situation like this. I'm just saying. She definitely was taxed. That's tax. You're right. I mean, there's no argument there. She definitely was not complying. But are they police officers? Let me repeat that question. Are they police officers? And that's a negatory, sir. So why would she have to comply to a bunch of dudes that just got a badge on their chest? You see what I'm saying? Just saying, but let's see this video one more time, and then we're going to move on because there's a lot going on. And by the way, one last thing before we continue. When the governor of the state says, please, everybody, I want everybody to not riot and go crazy in the streets. Can we please not do that? Can we just have peace in the streets? Can we just do not give them what they want? Please don't go crazy in the streets. They're going to go crazy in the streets, right? When you say that stuff out loud, they do the opposite day and they start protesting. They start demonstrating. And I have a feeling that tonight is going to be a long night. Could very well be a long night, but we'll see, right? Anything's possible. But as soon as they say, it's that whole thing, like they're expecting snow. That's literally what it is. The governor's like, I am bringing out the National Guard. They are ready just in case. But please, guys, don't go crazy out here in these streets. We don't have time for it. Okay? I'm going to bring in the National Guard so the stuff doesn't happen. So bad things don't happen. Well, here's the thing. There are demonstrations going on out in the streets as we speak right now. People are very angry about what happened here. And I don't blame them for being angry about the situation. These ICE agents shouldn't have weapons like this in their possession. That's just what I think, personally. That's what I think. But let's see this video, and I'm gonna stop it right before he, pulls the gat. Okay. See him? It's very big. Him pulling out the weapon, right? Right there. Crazy. And of course, I'm going to stop it there because we've already seen the other angle and it's enough violence for one show. Okay. But there's other angles, of course, that are being shared. Hold on, guys. Because I wanted to share this as well. Witness talking about the actual tragedy. Take a look at this as well. Trashy footage. This is terrible, but you get to hear what he has to say.
If you would, give me your name and kind of look over this way instead of at the phone.
Sure. My name is Aiden Perzana.
Can you spell those for me?
Yeah, AIDANPER, Z is in zebra, ANA.
Okay. So just tell me in general, I mean, what did you see out here this morning?
Well, I have a 1 month at home, so I was just getting up. He had woken me up and was getting dressed when I heard all of the horns and the whistles. And I'd heard horns pass through before as people follow ICE vehicles through the city, but they stayed. They kept going, and so I figured whatever was happening right outside. So I started watching through the window. There was a red Honda Pilot, maroon. There were two people in fatigues, ICE agents, presumably. One was by the passenger side of the vehicle, one was by the driver's side of the vehicle. There was a handful of black and white SUVs, license plates on some of them, front license plates removed, parked sort of kittywampus in the street. And I watched as a third person in full camo come and pull several times on the door handle, at which point the red vehicle reversed a few feet and started driving around, and the person who was by the driver's side originally, not the man who pulled on the door, but who was originally there, shot through the driver's side window 3 times. And the car drove down the street a little bit more and then swerved into a car and then ultimately a telephone pole.
Okay. I think that's really all, because I'm not trying to get you to comment on that. You just saw this. Did you see an ambulance come? Did you?
An ambulance came.
And she got hit in the face, by the way. She got hit in the face. He pulled the trigger 3 times. She got hit in the face and she gone. Crazy.
Came a few minutes later. There was some delay getting the ambulance to the vehicle because of the number of ICE vehicles in the street, and sort of they slowly moved their SUVs and trucks out of the way. Somebody wearing a camo and a vest that just said police, I think they're ICE, but no identification. Grabbed an orange sort of OtterBox style case and ran up to the vehicle, and they pulled the person out and onto the boulevard before the ambulance got there.
When you saw it happen, was that vehicle still moving? Was it at all going towards an agent at that point? Or?
I mean, so the agents had been on either side, so they just backed up a few feet and then drove forward again. Somebody else said that the vehicle had been stuck in the snow a little bit. So they weren't driving at a person with any intention of hitting them. They were driving between.
Good enough for me.
Golly. Hold up. We are going to look at that here shortly. There's another interview this guy did. So I wanted to see if he said anything different before we go and check out what the mayor had to say. Because he said verbatim that that them saying that it was justified is absolute BS. He said bullshit-ish, right? So he was not playing. But this is a very short clip, but it's the same guy, just better quality. So let's take a listen to this. Guys, please do me a favor, okay? Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. And if you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button as well. But subscribe here, please, and thank you. And hit that like button. Let's get those likes all the way up. If you can, that'd be greatly appreciated, okay? But let's hear what he says. This is very, very short.
Whoa. There was a red SUV parked right in front of our house.
It's the same thing.
2 people in camouflage, ICE agents, presumably one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side of the vehicle. A third person in also camouflage fatigues came and started pulling on the driver's side door handle, at which point the vehicle backed up a few feet and started driving forward. The agent who was on the driver's side originally, who was not pulling on the handle but had been there prior to that, shot 2 or 3 times through the driver's side window. The car drove a 30, 40 feet and crashed into another car in the telephone pole.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this, guys? This is freaking insane. And again, this is going to be a very interesting and hot topic for a minute, I have a feeling. Okay. But let's hear what the mayor has to say. The mayor, his name is Frey. I think it's Fry or Frey. Mayor Fry had some choice words to say here too. Actually, let me see. Hold on. Oh, wow. Okay, there's more. Yeah, there's all kinds of footage going on out here, y'all. This is just nuts. Let's take a listen to what they're doing here as well. And don't worry, I'll get to all the super chats and members chats and all that at the end of the show. But thank you so much for being here, guys. It really does mean a lot because you guys could be watching anywhere else. So thank you so much for spending and blessing your time with me here. Blessing the show with your time here. It really does mean a lot, okay? Just make sure you hit that like button down below and, of course, hit that subscribe button because we talk about all this craziness and all the mucky muck. Let's continue. Mayor speaks. He has a lot of very, very choice words. It's insane.
Collectively are going to do everything possible to get to the bottom of this, to get justice, and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead.
37.
And that she was shot by ICE.
All right, Chihuahua.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. As soon as it happened and we learned of the incident, we had several priorities. The first, of course, was to get the victim to the hospital and to get care as soon as possible. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. There's nothing that I can say right now that's going to make you or your relatives or the friends of the victim feel any better. There were, I believe, 2 Minneapolis police officers that responded and were in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There were dozens, if not hundreds, of ICE and federal officers that were there at the time. Having them there was only causing more chaos. Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Oh! 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 What? Whoa! Whoa! We're here? We're here now? We're here now. What? Okay. Hey, listen, somebody said, choice words for a public for a public from public authority, but Trump has used words like this before. He has said BS, he has said the F word. Okay? He has. So if he could say it, they could say it, right? But that just shook shiver me timbers. Oh my Lord, we're going to repeat that. Hold on. Not every day do you hear elected officials using curse words. You know what I'm saying? It's not every day. You only see it in the movies, but now we're living in the movies. You see what I'm saying? All of this is one fat ass reality show. What Tim Walz said is very true. It has turned into a uncensored reality show. But what he say again?
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Okay, first off, let me just say something real quick. Okay, let me just say something real quick. Okay, first off, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You mad? You want to say some things? You feel me? Say what you need to say, my brother. Okay, but at the same time, you need to understand that there are people agitating mother lovers out there. They're gonna hear what you say and go after and start running amok all up in these streets. I think you need to understand that, sir. Okay. I don't know why I sound like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, but I'm the dude disguised as the dude looking like another dude. But still, don't you think that, like, this is not the time to be using F-bombs at this moment? You know what I mean? Am I the only one who's seeing this is like, oh, snap? When you got Governor Walz to the swept drip down my, he's sitting there going, oh, snap, please do not start nothing in these streets. And Mayor Frey, I don't know his last name, how to pronounce it, but whatever. He just said, get the F out of our town. Oh, it's going to be a long night. Is it a school? Yeah, it's a school night, so it may not be that crazy. But I don't know. They might go, we gonna remember this for when school's out on Friday, baby. Okay, because I got kids and we got things to do. You know what I'm saying? Little has, basketball practice and whatnot. But Friday, oh, it's on. And we gonna tell you then. Give us 48 hours and we got you. You see what I'm saying? Oh, dear God.
We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get.
By the way, before he continues, where is the guy who actually pulled the trigger? Where's that ICE agent? Where did he go? Like, I heard in the chat somebody say somebody ran, like he ran after this whole thing happened. But here's the thing. These are all faceless guys from what we understand. I mean, the angle of where, the angle that we saw, the new one, okay, the other side, right? I don't remember seeing his face. So it's not like people can go and go, oh, that's Vinton. He from Texas. That's my grandson. You see what I'm saying? So we don't even know who this dude is. So where is he right now? Where is he? Does anybody have that answer?
Next, the message to our community. Look, we all know that the agenda of this Trump administration is to create chaos. Let us respond right now with our best versions of self.
This is going to be a long
This
ass
is a
night.
moment where all of us in Minneapolis and beyond, we can rise to the occasion. We can show them who we are. We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis, and that makes America, America.
I'm sorry. I got to stop. I don't mean to be breaking this down, but this is old. This is not breaking news. Like, this is from a few hours ago, and I have to react to this. Oh, dear God. You realize that he's sitting here saying certain things that certain people that are easily agitated, that are easily mobilized, are going to listen to what he's saying as if this is a fight, fight, fight speech. You understand that, right? These are not words of like, let's. You know, I'm sure he might wrap it up later on in the speech, saying like, you know, we should all get along. But right now. He's not talking about bringing peace. These are fighting words, babies. These are fighting mother-loving words.
We are better than a bunch of ICE agents being deployed to cities around the country and ripping apart families and communities.
I think I stopped too early because then he just said, see what I'm saying? Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, baby, it's heaven's a place on, or whatever the song is. Oh, dear God.
We're better than that. Oh, God. And so we are going to meet that hate with love. We are going to meet that despair with hope. We are going to meet that injustice with constitutional justice ourselves. And we're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city. They want an excuse to come in and show the kind of force that will create more chaos and more despair. Let's not let them. Let's rise to this occasion. Let's show them something far more beautiful than the kind of division that they're trying to stoke. Let's show them unity of purpose, of love, and the courage of our conviction. Our conviction, to be clear, is rock solid, and it is for our neighbors, all of our neighbors. It's for people who have lived here for 80 years. It is for new immigrants who have made this city a better place. That's the kind of love that we're going to show up with right now. If you're angry, I get it. I am too. If you're feeling that kind of despair, it's understandable. Let's show them who we can be. Let's show up with peace, to march, to protest, to hug one another, to love all the way with peace. Do not give them what they want. Finally, you know, we've got a lot of work that needs to happen right now to make sure that, first, of course, the scene was secured as much as possible, that we were able to get the victim, now deceased, to the hospital. We've got a lot of work to do in the coming days. I want to thank our city enterprise for the work that they have done, but more importantly, what they're about to do, because this is going to be heavy and our city has been through a lot. We also know that we're prepared to do right for people. Among them is our chief of police. I'll invite him up.
My name is Brian O'Hara, BRIANO''HARA. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident, meaning shots had been fired. Minneapolis police officers responded to the scene. We arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. I want to thank the mayor, city council president, other members of the city council, state legislators that were on the scene. This has been a very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene.
Wow.
And I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights. But please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction. Thank you.
Oops.
The 7th of January was late to be telling you.
Wait, hold on. Wrong. Hold on. Did not mean to clip on that. But very interesting that you even heard the police basically say, like, we had a feeling this was going to happen. We knew that this was going to happen. This is what we were fearful of happening, and now it's happened, right? This is so crazy. This is absolutely crazy. In fact, here's another piece of information. I mean, they haven't identified the guy, okay? But I do want to share with y'all. Let me just save these photos here real quick, and then I'm going to show them. Oh, come on, computer. Because they have photos of the guy, not like without his mask on, but there is photos of the guy now circulating online. So let's take a look at these. Oh, come on. Fine. I mean, just so you guys can see it. This is the guy. But I mean, that's not very helpful. You see what I'm saying? It's not very helpful. Full on mask. Or, you know, it's from here down. So all you're seeing is his hairline and his eyebrows and his eyes. That's it. So is it enough? I don't know. But people are definitely reacting to this situation and also looking at looking at it all. Wow. Okay. Sorry. Just checking a couple other things here real quick. Uno momento, por favor. Absolutely crazy. Oh, another angle, it looks like. Looks like there's another angle. Let's take a look at this one, shall we? Don't worry, we're going to be hopping around. There's a lot going on. There's now footage showing Blackhawks flying around like as they're getting kind of like the National Guard is getting ready, right? It's just crazy. This is one wild day, and it's only today's the 7th. It's been 7 days, guys. 7 days into 2026, and we're already dealing with all kinds of mayhem. Here's another angle. I mean, it's not a great angle, but you can take a look at it anyway.
What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'd be saying the same thing. Yeah. This is all insane. Okay. All of this is insane. But let's go over to NBC. Let's see what's going on over here. Hold on, guys. Hold on one second. Come on.
Could you tell at that point, was there any sort of conflict? Were ICE agents yelling at the driver? Was the driver yelling back? Did you see any sense of that? Yeah.
People were blowing their whistles at the ICE agents. The ICE agents were getting out of vehicles possibly and walking they were walking in that direction. But I did not realize they might be walking towards that vehicle.
And I guess
it doesn't seem like the vehicle subject to be anything, any kind of target.
So you didn't have any sort of sense when you were walking.
By the way, the guy, the ICE agent that was, if you look at that right here, look, I'm gonna just look right and just keep your eye on this window. I know it's gonna disappear because the car turns right, and you're not gonna be able to see the window. But look at the agent. He pulls the trigger once through the windshield. I want to make that abundantly clear, okay? He pulled the trigger through the windshield. Now, I know there was an eyewitness that was basically saying, yeah, he shot through the window. It's because he did. He did shoot through the window. Take a look at this. And like I said, all I'm saying is I'm just giving you guys facts, okay? But he did pull the trigger through the window. Look at this. Look at this.
Not realize they might be walking towards that
Pulls
vehicle.
the trigger.
And I guess
bang once. That's once. You saw it. You could see it. You could see that shot from freaking space. Shot one. Let's go.
Doesn't seem like
he pulls the trigger again right there, and then he pulls the trigger again right there. Bop bop. Bang. Bop bop. And he shot through the window. Through the window. He shot once through the windshield. Car pulls around, and then he went brah brah through the window. Why did he need to pull the trigger 2 more times after that? That's the question I'd like to have answered. I get it. In the very beginning, where the car's coming towards him, he's thinking, she's trying to take me down. Bow! But he's out of danger. He's out of the way. After he pulls the trigger and he moves out the way, boom, he still goes brah brah 2 more times. Yikes. Don't worry, I'm going to roll that back so y'all can see that in nosebleed seats. One more again. One more again.
As they might be walking towards that vehicle.
And I guess
then
seem like the vehicle
bow.
Subject to be
what? Why did he have to pull the trigger through the window? He did it through the windshield. Fine. And then he went through the driver's side. That's point blank range. You realize that, right? That's point blank range. He's the wheel's right here. The window's right here. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's not good. That's not a good look, cabron. Not a good look.
Anything, any kind of target.
So you didn't have any sort of sense when you were walking up then that this vehicle was in any way threatening anyone. It didn't seem as though the person in the car was trying to agitate or make the situation more difficult for the ICE agents.
No, I didn't even hear anything from the car. People on the sidewalks were screaming at the ICE agents, like, get out of our neighborhood, that sort of thing. But and like, we were blowing whistles and stuff like that. But no.
So then, Venus, Venus, if we can bring you into the conversation, then at what point did you recognize and realize that something was happening, and what was your experience?
So Lynette texted me because she couldn't come over and find out what had happened because the ICE agents were pushing everybody away.
They immediately pushed everybody back.
Yes. So I went out because we live nearby and I could come in from the other angle, and I got to the intersection, and I discovered that they were the EMTs were doing CPR on someone on the sidewalk right at the intersection. That lasted for about a minute. She was behind a snowbank, so I just saw the activity of doing the CPR. The ambulances couldn't get there because there was so much traffic.
The ICE vehicles had, it's a one-way going south. The ICE vehicles had the complete block north of her, behind her, blocked.
So when they finally did get over there, I watched as they got whoever they were doing the CPR on, onto a stretcher, and then put her into the ambulance and drove away. But there was no rush. There was no sirens. I already knew she hadn't made it. It was just devastating to watch. And I was just across the street from it. And so
you both live in this neighborhood, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you recognize the car? Would you have known the woman that was in the car? Or
No,
do you have any?
we don't know her.
Right.
I
Okay.
mean, at this point, we don't know that we know her. I mean, I didn't recognize the car. It's it's a busy neighborhood. Portland Avenue is a busy street. It's one of the arteries going south of downtown, especially in the second half of the day. It's a busy street.
I'm interested in something else you said, Lynette, because we've all seen the aftermath. We see the actual incident and the aftermath, and it seemed as though this was a pretty chaotic scene for quite a period of time. But the way you describe it is, as you were walking up, you didn't even realize that there was something going on. I mean, you knew there were ICE agents in the area because of the community group that you have and the situation at your elementary school. Did it really not get that chaotic until the car started pulling out, or was there a sense of tension even before that moment from your viewpoint of it?
It didn't get chaotic until the shots were fired.
Right. It was.
I mean, I was able to cross the street. I'd started crossing the street to get to the other side to see if something was going on over on that side, because I couldn't see much of anything on the even side of the street. And so I was able to cross because the traffic was stopped. ICE agents were all around. Nobody was preventing me from doing anything. It wasn't until I was still in the street, maybe halfway across it, and I heard the shots behind me. And that's when things got bad.
So I guess that also, I mean, you said you don't know this woman. The president of the United States has described her as a professional agitator. That's his language. But as far as you know, she wasn't even a part of this text group you had that was alerting people to ICE agents being in the area.
Yeah, I have no idea where she was.
No. There was, it did not look, didn't look like there was any blockade or any intentional trying to, I mean, it was just, we were trying to pay attention to there was a lot of activity in our neighborhood that we got alerted to since about 6:30 in the morning.
And it's continuing. I mean, my social media is blowing up. This has not even stopped them. They are picking up people all over the place.
Yeah. But there wasn't a big chaotic scene before the shooting. That's when it sparked.
Yeah.
And that's when people rushed out and asked. And there was not a lot of people out there. It didn't start turning into a protest or people trying to document until after that incident. When I was filming the CPR happening, there was still just a handful of us out there. It was not this big chaotic thing. It was just like maybe 25 of us out there, neighbors who came out. It was not a big chaotic scene.
And did either of you at any point see a DHS or ICE vehicle that appeared to be stuck in the snow? I mean, I can't imagine you're Minnesotans, you know how to drive in snow.
Park. I heard there was one on the 3300 block of Park.
But anywhere near the scene, anywhere near the scene that you witnessed?
Oh, it would be 2 blocks away, 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
But nothing directly connected to the incident that you can tell.
If they're stuck in the snow, people are going to stand and laugh at them and photograph them, but they're not in any danger.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then the last question I have for you guys just before we go is, how concerned are you now about the subsequent protests that could take place, especially given the fact that Minneapolis has already been through so much when it comes to those kind of protests?
I'm not worried about a protest. What I'm worried about is the reaction from the government with what's the rhetoric already that we're hearing about this professional agitation and all of that. That's what I'm worried about.
I'm worried about that too, that they will bring in outside agitators. Actually, the protest community in the Twin Cities is pretty well organized, and but it's a lot of the outsiders who come in who try to cause problems, and that I believe is what led to some of the burning on Lake Street. And we lived through that, but we were out with our neighbors in the alley, making sure that people didn't come through and burn down our garages and houses.
But it wasn't.
Well, I appreciate you both sharing your story. I'm sorry that you had to witness that and that you're dealing with all of that aftermath. I hope you and your community can stay as safe as possible given everything that's happening. But Lynette Renee Grandel and Venus DeMars, thank you both for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring back in Jim Kavanaugh and Julia Ainsley to react.
Okay, so let's continue on because there's a lot more. Kristi Noem also had some things to say, so I'm going to pull that clip up here too. She had some things to say about this whole thing, and I don't know. She's the head, of course, of she's the secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. One thing's for sure, she looks the part, I guess, right? But let's take a look and hear what she has to say about this. And I think some people are looking at this and saying what she's saying is also very reckless as well. What do you think? Let's hear it.
So a couple of questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars. And every day, and we'll work to keep people standing is that she was hit and is deceased. With them as such, we will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets and enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking and drug exploitation and child exploitation. So we're going to continue to do our work. And I want to remind everybody that The act like we saw today of using a vehicle to try to kill an officer and his colleagues and the other people around him is something that every politician, every elected official, everyone in this country should be able to rally around and say that it is wrong. And that sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that protect individuals who do that should no longer be allowed. That those individuals that are in leadership positions in these sanctuary jurisdictions need to work with us to make sure that every single person that's out there enforcing the law can be safe, but also so that all of our citizens can continue to be safe too. Domestic acts of terrorism like this will not stand, and I'm grateful that we have the leadership in Washington, D.C. that recognizes it, and will make sure that it's working to keep every single community safe, regardless of who's in charge in that city. President Trump gets up every day and will work to keep people safe, whether they're in a red state or a blue state, or in a city that has a Republican mayor or a mayor that has a Democratic mayor. He's going to fight for every single American to make sure they live in a safe community and can raise their kids without fear.
So this woman who drove the car is now, in her perspective, she is now being called a domestic terrorist. Yeah, that's what's coming out of her mouth. And of course, that's obviously what Trump has been backing as well, because I'm just going to repeat what he said in his Truth Social post, because I think it's kind of important to see. And of course, there are protests that are still erupting in the streets right now as we speak. We are going to be venturing into that, okay, in a little bit. But again, she's calling her a domestic terrorist. Was she? Is that considered domestic terrorist? Is she a domestic terrorist? Interesting. Here's what Trump said, but I just want to repeat it again because you guys are here. A lot of you guys are here that don't know what's going on, and we read this earlier, but I'm going to repeat it again. All right. So he's echoing what Kristi Noem is saying. So he says, I just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator. And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE agent or ICE officer, who seems to have pulled the trigger on her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is still alive or that he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. Say that again. It's hard to believe that he's alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. So he got hurt so bad that he's in the hospital recovering? What in the actual what? He looked fine to me after pulling the trigger. Was his trigger finger bruised? He looked fine to me. So that's interesting. So now he's in the hospital recovering. All right. Situation is being studied in its entirety. And the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. President Donald J. Trump. Wow. Wow. We didn't get to see the whole rest of the tweet or his Truth Social post. All we saw was them say that he pulled the trigger in self-defense and that, she was disorderly, obstructing and resisting, and then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over this ICE agent. You realize that she said, wow. Okay, do you realize how reckless this is? Because he's putting out misinformation. Now, here's the thing. He may be in the hospital for like a bruised finger, or maybe he bruised his arm or something like that, but he didn't get ran over. You realize that, right? He didn't get ran over. It's not like she went go with her ride. Ran over, he'd be dead. At least in my personal opinion. So again, the fact that President Trump is saying that she is now, or that he is now recovering in a hospital, you realize that he's putting out information that's making it sound a lot more dramatic than it actually is, right? He shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe that he's still alive. It's hard to believe that he's still alive. Even though he got shoved, he didn't get ran over, but thank God, yeah, lucky him that the car he didn't fall over and get ran over. Sure, that is true. But the fact that the way the wording is here is very interesting. But now he's recovering in a hospital. Now, he could very well be recovering in a hospital for various things, but it is interesting that we're seeing it in this way, right? That's just okay. He's spinning it. I'm telling you guys, he's spinning it. There are definite things that are going on in that clip that are wrong with both sides of the situation. Okay, but the fact that he is spinning it and trying to say that a professional agitator, like I said, that just doesn't make any sense. Those are just people protesting, not happy about what's going on in their own neck of the woods. That's just what I see. Let me show you guys this too. We already talked about Kristi Noem. All right. Out here. Like, she always camera ready. Have you not noticed that? Am I the only one that sees that? Like, she's always camera ready? Like, always? Hold on. Where the heck is it? Maybe I didn't pull it up. Let me get this. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So there is footage of like Black Hawks actually flying over Minneapolis right now, getting ready for the deployment of the National Guard, which is crazy if you. They getting ready, y'all. They getting ready. Like, this is insane. That's just insane. There's more. So apparently somebody was burning the American flag outside, out there in protest. They covered their face, but this is now considered illegal. Remember, this is now considered illegal.
I want to jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now. And we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there. I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? What's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here. It's profanity. It's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people definitely in their feelings about everything that's going on. What say you guys? Are you here for it, or do you think it's absolute BS? What are your thoughts? Let me get over to, let me see what's going on with NBC here real quick. Where did it go? Boom.
Sure that's going to
I'm not sure it's possible. I mean, I was thinking the same thing as I was listening to you talk to the previous panel and the discussion of an FBI investigation that'll now be launched. Well, what's the likelihood that the FBI is going to be able to do a fair and impartial investigation when you have the President of the United States already offering the conclusion of what that investigation was?
And Congress has completely said we're going to wash our hands of anything oversight related. There's no hearings, there's no transparency or credibility. They themselves have an obligation to hold hearings and to look into these kinds of things. And they've said, no, we're not going to do that.
I mean, Susan, if you even played it out further, and to Stephen's point, there's a possibility that the FBI will conduct an investigation and determine one outcome, and a state or local district attorney may do a parallel investigation and draw a completely different conclusion. I mean, that could even, not to sound too like the sky's falling here, but almost a constitutional crisis of authority, right?
Well, so you can choose your version of the truth, which is what we increasingly have on everything from this kind of shooting, perhaps, to whether to get vaccinations. So that erosion of confidence that there's any source, any institution you can trust to tell you the truth about big things, that is a real constitutional crisis.
And do we have any confidence that there's a leader out there that could maybe calm things down in this moment?
I'm still looking.
Kendra?
I think we all are.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for being here on a very difficult day and having a very nice and responsible conversation about what we saw play out here today in Minneapolis. Susan, Kendra, Stephen, thank you all for being here. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Meet the Press Now. But for more, especially on this shooting in Minneapolis, there is more news ahead on NBC News Now. Thank you so much for watching.
So this is just nuts, y'all. So I'm checking other, because there is going to be some other footage coming here soon, or live coverage here coming up here shortly, like within minutes, really. But I'm gonna pull up MS Now, see what they're saying.
Representative Dave Pinto, thank you for being with us. What other details can you tell us about what happened today?
Katie, I have limited knowledge of it. I know that my Minneapolis colleagues have been on the scene for quite a while. They're looking into it, being with community in what is really, really an incredibly hard time. As you referenced, Governor Walz, I believe, will be having a press conference quite soon and should be able to provide more information. But I just share with the community just a complete horror at this happening in our cities.
Two sources familiar tell MS Now that, again, the woman who was shot by ICE was a U.S. citizen. The officer who shot her works for Enforcement and Removal Operations Division of ICE. It's responsible for immigration arrests and deportations, according to two sources familiar, including a law enforcement official who was briefed on the situation. Gosh, I wonder... Sorry, not every day you hear a reporter go, like, you just, not every day. This is some wild stuff. So again, this guy is an ICE agent. So it's not like he was a cop or anything of that sort. This is an actual ICE agent. So again, training, is this excessive force? Is this, and I've asked already in the top of the chat, do you consider this in the poll? Do you consider this a justified situation? Do you consider this unjustified? Do you consider this woman a domestic terrorist? Hear the details of this, and you see the video. What do you believe needs to happen next? Are you as confident as the mayor and the governor are that ICE was in the wrong and the woman should not have, and that there was no argument for self-defense?
You also see that, like, all the fencing, they're taking all the fencing back. The barricades that they just had are now going bye-bye. So this is going to be a very interesting, I mean, it may not be a very interesting evening at all. You never know. As soon as the sun goes down, everybody might go back to their homes. You never know. But at the same time, you see everybody lurking. You see everybody sitting there. It's a lot of people in black. It's crazy how many people are wearing black in this footage here. This is wild.
Well, here's what I'll say. I work as a prosecutor outside my legislative work, and it causes me to feel cautious at each step. You played that video. It's a horrifying video. The governor and mayor have information. We're going to hear from the governor. What I do know is that safety needs to be our absolute top priority. Again, that's my work as a prosecutor, our work as legislators. We need to have community safety. Over these past weeks, as we've seen a surge of ICE in our community, community. I know that my constituents have felt great fear, and that's been true across the Twin Cities and across the state. A number of things going on there. And so, exactly what happened here, we have to have a full investigation. I'm have to pursue it, but folks can see that video with their eyes, and we know that there's a woman has lost her life today, and it's just absolutely appalling.
It's an absolutely horrible situation.
Yeah.
Period. Horrible situation.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of George Floyd, there were very large protests in Minneapolis. Protests that, when it got dark, did turn violent, and the protesters would say they were infiltrated by people who were not really.
We got some breaking news.
Protest movement, and they were bad
breaking news.
Are you?
I'm going to pause that right now. We got some breaking news. If I'm correct, we have the identity of the actual woman, the victim. Just so you guys know, let me see this really quick, make sure. It looks like her name is Renee Nicole Good. She's a poet. Of course, we already know she's a female. She's 37 years old. She has now been identified and named as the woman that was actually hit by an ICE agent in that video. The one that the government is now considering a domestic terrorist. So here we go. Woman shot dead by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, in Minnesota, has been named as the 37-year-old poet Renee Nicole Good. Good was named by her mother, Donna Ganger, who spoke to the Minneapolis. So she was identified by her own mother. Okay, so the Minneapolis Star-Tribune said this afternoon. That's so stupid, the mother said of her daughter's demise. She was profoundly terrified, or she was probably terrified. I'm sorry. Her mother also insisted Good was not part of anything like that, referring to protests against ICE that were taking place at the location where Good actually lost her life. Good was a poet and a mother of 3 children, so she's a mom. A mother of 3 children who grew up in Colorado Springs. She was married to a comedian named Timothy Macklin, who passed away in 2023 and now lives in Minneapolis with her partner, whose name has not been shared. So Good was hit 3 times in the face. Diggity damn, of 3 times in the face, y'all. 3 times in the face. Wow. After she ignored the ICE agents' demands to get her out of the car, she reversed it and tried to drive off. ICE claims she deliberately drove her burgundy SUV at agents, but witnesses dispute that, and Mayor Jacob Fry called it BS. Video shared online captured a woman speaking to a distressed onlooker who claimed to be Good's wife. While adding that she had a 6-year-old child. That's my wife. I don't know what to do, the onlooker wailed hysterically. The man filming the video asked if the screaming woman was the woman who was killed, and if she had any friends who could help. That's my wife. Says she said something unintelligible. I have a 6-year-old at school. We're new here. We don't have anyone, came the reply. The frantic onlooker could also be heard to scream, "We need a doctor." So this right here is the woman that lost her life. Renee Nicole Good, a poet, a mother, and a wife. Unbelievable, guys. It hits different when you got to face with the situation. You see what I'm saying? That's sad. The man asked if she knew any of her wife's relatives she could call, but she said, "I can't even deal with that right now." Photos of the woman's car showed children's toys inside, including a plush animal and a child's drawing. Witnesses claim that the woman and her wife were acting as legal observers and filming the protest when she was actually hit. But ICE insisted the woman tried to use the SUV as a deadly weapon. Footage of this tragedy showed the victim blocking the road with her car until ICE agents told her to move away. She reversed to head back down the road as an agent tried to open its driver's side door handle before she drove off. 3 shots then rang out. All 3 bullets went into her face, just so you know. All 3 bullets went straight to the dome. That's insane. The woman lost control of the SUV. That's because she was gone after that. She lost her life. She was gone after that. She was hit 3 times. Each photo, or each bullet that was aimed and shot out of that gun all hit her in the head. All of them. So she lost control of the car because she was gone. Okay, just so y'all know. Oh, no. I'm still here, guys. I am still here. Okay? This thing just likes to trip every once in a while. Okay? But nonetheless, 3 shots to the face. Yeah, so the woman's SUV was seen with a bullet hole through the driver's windshield as well. Okay, so this is what she looks like, y'all. Renee Nicole Good. Apparently now being named a domestic terrorist. Just so y'all know. But let us continue with our conversation.
We collect.
Whoops. Sorry, guys. Let's go into
control Greenland, whether it's the military or whether it's the rare minerals. And I really support that. It's not a new conversation to Greenland. I mean, even Truman, I think he offered $100 million in gold to purchase Greenland. And now I think I just read today that there was a deal back in 1951 where America can effectively do whatever necessary from a military way to do that, honestly. So I think it's a better way forward and not threaten Greenland. America is not a bully, and I can't ever support where we are going to use any kinds of force. And I don't think it's a thing either. I think the speaker even said it's not a thing, and I don't think it's a thing.
Are you going to support the War Powers resolution tomorrow when it comes up for a vote?
I don't know. I've been having a conversation with my colleague to find out what it actually applies to. Could removing Maduro, was that part of it or not? And I think it wasn't really part of it covered on that. What triggers it, what doesn't trigger that, to have a better understanding. I don't support no one. It's never once like an Iraq or out of control situation. We're not looking for a full-on invasion. But, honestly, every Democrat, whether it's Joe Biden or Leader Schumer or whether Dick Durbin or Murphy, they've all said, he needs to go. And now that seems to change. Why? I mean, why can't we as a Democrat, I just say, hey, I think it's a good thing. And all the Venezuelan communities in our nation all celebrating this. And now after that brief, it's like it was a very well organized thing. It wasn't a couple guys sitting around, just like, hey, let's just do this. I mean, this was an incredible level of collaboration. And I don't know. I think I'm going to celebrate how effective our military was in order to do this. And now he wasn't assassinated. He was arrested, and he's going to have a trial. And he is, I think that's the way the process works. And now if the president puts 25 big stacks on him, that means he should go. And if he's removed, I think I'm open to the better outcome for Venezuela.
Do you think Democrats have shifted their tune because Trump is president?
I mean,
all right, we were listening to see if Senator Fetterman was going to make any remarks there regarding
No
the
doubt.
situation happening in Minnesota with the ICE-involved shooting. We'll keep an eye on Senator Fetterman, and if any remarks are made, we will bring that to you here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for watching with us here on Live Now from Fox. Let's go back out to more of the coverage from our friends over at Fox 9 Minneapolis as they continue to cover the breaking news in their city.
ICE presence in the city of Minneapolis, 2,000 agents in the cities to find people who are in the country illegally, detain them or arrest them. There was a list of people who were detained that was sent out by Homeland Security yesterday, along with the crimes that they were alleged to have committed. So we know that there's this historic ICE presence in the cities right now. Kristi Noem was in the cities yesterday as well. And this morning on scene at 34th and Portland, Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino also as well on the scene. And the president has talked a lot about ICE enforcement in the Twin Cities. And every time there is an ICE presence in a neighborhood or at a business, protesters are gathering there. Many are talking online, sharing video. And then the longer they are on a scene, the more the protest tends to grow and it becomes very volatile.
And that's really what happened this morning. I want to take you back, as I said, those 6+ hours this morning and what happened there as we have seen it we had reporters on the scene as well. So there was a targeted ICE enforcement arrest was to take place in that area of 34th and Portland. And in the process of that, there was a growing crowd. And this is part of the video from earlier that you're seeing right now. There was a growing crowd. They call them constitutional observers. They call them activists. They call them demonstrators. You can call them as you see it. But that's what happened there this morning. They were gradually gaining momentum there. The vehicle in question, the one that had the victim in it, it's the one you see there in the background, the dark maroon Honda Pilot. The woman apparently, as we understand it, was parked sideways across the lanes of traffic. At some point, just before the shooting occurred, ICE agents rolled up, and that's where the incident began, where officers were around the vehicle. There were 3 or 4 officers around, one in front off the driver's side front bumper, and 2 other officers next to the door. When the shooting occurred, the vehicle was moving out and into the lane, and you know, the perspective, and Kelsey mentioned this, the perspective is as people see it.
And we do have that video, so we can go ahead and show that. This is going to show a front version down the street as the car is coming toward us. And this is after, let's see. I think this is officers. Okay, they're approaching.
Yeah,
okay.
This is ICE agents just pulling up here. The vehicle is
Lower
right there.
And it happens so fast that it's hard to see what takes place in this particular video, but that is the front angle. And then we have also obtained some video from behind where it happens, but that is the vehicle that belongs to the woman who was killed today. And as Randy said, there were 3 agents in particular surrounding the car. It's unclear why she was parked at an angle in the street or what was happening in the street at that time. We do know that as they approached her vehicle, one agent told her to get out of the car, and then we see the car start to move, and then we hear the shots.
So that video you just saw is the one that President Trump also viewed this afternoon as well. And post watching that video, the president did put out a statement. I believe we have that for you. And it reads like this: I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. We will say from our observations, the officer does not appear to have been on the pavement. He was in front of that bumper at the time, but we never saw from any of our angles him hit the pavement. He goes on to say, is there more of the president's statement, or is this the full context? He goes on to say they are just trying to do a job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this, and these are his words, radical left movement of violence and hate. Again, that was President Trump's
By the way, the person who was screaming that he calls an agitator, a professional agitator, was actually, now we understand, was actually Renee Good's wife. You understand that? That was Renee Good's wife, allegedly, screaming off camera during the whole thing. Yeah. So as much as he says professional agitator, he may have his information wrong there, guys. But again, selective words, very selective words. Obviously, he's on the side of he wants to get all the bad and all the riffraff, all these damn Somalians out of the country, out of Minnesota and all that as well. Let's not forget that. All the immigrants in general, not only just Somalians, but also other immigrants as well. So of course he's going to spin it so it doesn't look like this, so it doesn't look super bad for ICE. Come on, guys. Come on now. All right. And here's the thing. If they're see, that's the thing. He says this out loud. And what's so sad about this is people are going to believe that. They're instantly going to go, oh, yeah, that woman definitely was a professional agitator. No, guys, come on. Come on. We live in a time now where we are still waiting for those doggone Epstein files. Okay. And since day one of him talking about them trying to do the red herrings and do all this fugazi and all this crap, right? They've been doing nothing but make up excuses, come up with new slogans and new words to play with people. There's been gaslighting, etc. For me, I don't even believe half the stuff that he says anymore. Now I am just side-eyeing everything he says because honestly, you lost me then. You lost me at Epstein. And you never scooped up that ball and redeemed yourself. And there's been opportunities for redemption. There's been opportunities for redemption, and they have not done it. Now there's other reports where you got Republican House of Representatives, House Republican Massey even saying that they're going to be doing some paperwork, trying to go after them criminally, if I'm correct. So again, because of them not putting out this information. So again, this is a tragic situation, but they're going to scoop this up and use this as a distraction for us not looking at what we really want right now, which is unearthing the bad that is out here. That's beyond just Epstein. Come on, guys. Come on. When he starts using all these words and starts, using all these very divisive words, he's using that for a very good reason. I'm sorry. Guys, come on. Come on. You can't forget Epstein stuff. You can't forget the timeline of Epstein and how they've just been doing nothing but lie to us back to back to back to back to back. At least with that, it's fine. You can sit there and justify the Maduro situation and Venezuela. Hell, I'll give that to you. I don't give a damn. Okay, take it. But Epstein, right there, Epstein. It's all been a fugazi, guys. So whenever we hear him speak out, he doesn't want ICE to look bad. So he's going to stand on the side of ICE instead of him sitting there and saying in a more diplomatic way, hey, saw the footage, this is absolutely terrible. We're looking into it. And when we find out more information, I'll be, giving you guys a press briefing or whatnot. No, he's not doing that. That's what a president is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be diplomatic. When it's especially something as hairy and as very volatile as a situation like this, right? The tensions between the anti-ICE and ICE agents. But instead, he says it's all because of these damn radical leftists again. And it's professional agitators. Come on, guys. Even all y'all on the other side, like those who are on like the hardcore MAGA, you're just deep in the red. Even you guys can smell the BS. Okay? Even you guys can smell it. So again, really? Professional agitator? Really? A domestic terrorist? Really? I think those are some very strong words to be using on somebody, in my personal opinion. Let's continue on. Let's see what else is going on. We're going to go over to, in fact, hold on. Let me play a little bit of this just to see.
Is on scene And he's been on scene all morning long.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
Because Associated Press is also live as well, so I want to show that to you guys as well. So we're going to get into that here in a second.
and if we can go to Corin now, just let me know. But I also mentioned local law.
Valerie, yep. See, we're too busy looking. See. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, 2 seconds to be on the soapbox for a second. Okay. Let me just say this really quick. All right. Okay. First and foremost, and I'm going to make this quick, but we're so busy, or America, the government is so busy looking over somewhere else. We're looking at Greenland and going, ooh, we just need it for national security, which is absolute BS. But whatever. They're busy looking at all these other stuff. Cuba, they're doing stuff with Venezuela, all that stuff. But then you see the problems that are going on in America right now. What is happening with America right now? The room is split. The chat is even split over this situation, right? This is a time that we need to be coming together as a country, or actually we need a leadership that's going to be looking into what's going on and the problems that we have with our country. And Valerie just said it exactly. Hey, can we get these prices down? Can we get our economy on point? But we're too busy looking all these over here. Not us, but Trump is busy looking over here rather than looking at what's going on here. And there's a lot of problems domestically right now. We're seeing it in real time. I feel like he needs to just kind of slow his roll, stop playing battleship for a second, and look at the problems that are going on in America. Just for a second. I know he can't answer everything and solve all the problems in just by snapping his fingers, but damn, wouldn't it be nice if he could just look at what's going on here just for a little bit, fix those things instead of just flying around and playing battleship? You know what I'm saying? But that's just me, okay? Healthcare is out of control. Again, like they just had a press briefing earlier today, and they said, SNAP benefits, yes, people are going to have them, but now we're going to stop them from buying soda and sweets. We're going to stop them from doing that, which, by the way, surprise, surprise, I'm for that. I am for that because, of course, all the reasons why people are getting cancers and diabetes and all that stuff. And let's not forget crazy weight gain in this country is maybe it's because of the diet. Maybe it's because of the things that we're buying and consuming on a daily basis. Yeah, so I'm with it. Yay, make that happen. Make people pick up a stalk of celery instead of a dozen donuts. I'm for it. Some people are just going to have to learn how to cook. Dagnab, right? They're focusing on that, but at the same time, here's the thing. We still have healthcare insurance that's out of this world. How about we focus on that too? Sure. Stop the kids from drinking sugary drinks and eating everything that has chemicals in it, all these processed foods and everything. By all means, please make that so. Cool. I'm with it 100%. Yes, should have been happened, right? But what about this healthcare stuff? You're talking about health. What about healthcare? Why is that so out of control now? Health insurance. Why is that so damn expensive now? Can we talk about that for a second? Can we fix that? Yeah. Nicole B, ain't nobody going to be able to afford a common cold at this point. Seriously. You're going to be more and more people without health insurance out here. Watch. Because it costs some people are paying that. They're paying more than what they pay their rent or their mortgage. That's insane. Because they have kids, they have family, etc. That's a whole lot of monies. So again, why are we so focused on what's going on overseas, and not focusing on what's going on here? We need to be focused on here. But that's just me. off the soapbox. Just had to get that on my chest.
Then Minneapolis police and Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies remained on the scene as kind of the investigation was underway. We saw the FBI here. We saw BCA here conducting investigative operations. And then as soon as they all left, this kind of filled the vacuum here. And we got the boys from the
What is going on? Did I just have a stroke? Or did you just hear what I heard? Did I just have a stroke? Did you guys hear what I just heard? Did that sound like they were playing it backwards? What in the hell? What the hell just happened? Hold on. What? What? What was that? Hold on. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
Fire as well.
So again,
What the hell?
Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary, is expected to be in front of a camera and a microphone in about a half hour from now. Obviously, we'll take that live as well. It's coming up on 4:30, 30 minutes after
It
the
won't
hour.
let me
I wanna bring your
rewind.
Viewers up to speed on those of you who may just be settling in for the day and trying to figure out exactly what
Okay.
happened this morning. At about 9:30 this morning.
Okay, so we already know about all that. Hold on. Hold on. We're gonna. Yeah, people are mad.
I
People
want
are
to bring in
angry.
Mike Tobin because he's down there on the street where this
Take
is
a look at this.
happening. Mike, give us a sense of what's happening right now.
Well, it seems to be what happened is that the law enforcement decided to pull out. And I've seen that before with different riots or protest situations where they decide to take the law enforcement out and remove the line, remove the idea that these people have something to protest against. So as the law enforcement pulled out, the crowd of people came north in this direction. They're throwing a lot of objects. I don't know if you saw it in the video out there. One of the larger vehicles had windows broken out of it. So we saw a lot of objects being thrown, and the crowd here, again, we're ballparking at about 400 strong. By the way, I see some of the people with the black hoods and the face masks, indicative of Antifa. But that would be... you can never, they don't have a uniform. They don't carry cards when they're with Antifa. They just kind of dress that way from time to time. But what you have at the situation or at the scene here where the shooting happened, the crowd is largely dissipated. They're now marching north along the road where the shooting happened. So that's the scene. Law enforcement pulled out. They're now turning the standing protest into a march, Martha.
Yeah. So it's brewing. That video was put up about an hour ago. So yeah, there's more and more stuff coming out as we continue to see like this. It's been brewing. A lot of things have been brewing. Let's take a look at this.
Shooting. This now, the first time that we're really hearing some more details from law enforcement.
Yeah, we know that the call was made maybe about 10 o'clock this morning, so just about 3 hours or so ago. In that press conference, we did get some more information about this woman who was, we know, at this point shot and killed by ICE agents. We have learned that she is a 37-year-old white woman. She appeared to be in the vehicle alone, is what the police chief said, but the spouse has made it to the hospital. But we probably should take you back just a little bit about just some of the chain of events that have happened now that we have some of that information confirmed.
And interestingly, we really still haven't learned what the initial call was, why ICE was there in the first place, who they may have been looking for. But we know that while ICE agents were there, according to Mayor Fry, there were about a dozen or so plus agents there, and that, you know, we've seen there's some video out there. We're actually going to be showing it to you here shortly so you can see for yourself. But in the course of, of them looking for somebody, people started to gather, crowd started to gather, more law enforcement shows up. And I'm not exactly sure at what point the incident happened with the woman in the vehicle, but we know that there was a woman in the vehicle. And according to again, you'll see the video for yourself and you can kind of watch. There are two narratives here. One from the Trump administration, which we'll read to you in a second, and then one we just heard from local law enforcement. Okay, and Ryan's telling me that we are actually ready to show the video. So before we layer too much context here, why don't we just let you watch this? But we're going to do this.
Here's another thing too. Apparently around 5 o'clock in about 30 minutes, there's going to be another press conference with Kristi Noem, just so you know. So in about 30 minutes, another press conference is going to be happening. So just get ready. We're going to hear more, I guess, more information about this whole situation from Kristi Noem. Okay. So that's happening in about 30 minutes from now. So please do me a favor before we continue with this video. Please do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it, do it a do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. And if you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. But of course, make sure you're subscribed right here on my YouTube channel right here. Subscribe to my second channel as well, The Pascal Show Clips. Make sure you're subscribed there too, because there's going to be a lot of clips coming from this, for example, being put over there, because there might be things that you missed, like the identification of the victim from what we're talking about here. That has been released as well. So we will, like those kind of things will be cut out and put onto the second channel. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell. Okay, let's go.
This in a very sort of deliberate way. Let people know that this is video we're showing for the first time. You're not going to see it a lot on our air because we want to make sure that when we're showing it, we're doing it with a purpose. So there's no audio here as well, and you're going to see this sort of play out.
Because
So
everybody's
just a warning to those who may not want to see this. You can see the vehicle there. That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup,
and it is.
I'm assuming that was her wife, like holding her, like she opened the door and she just basically threw herself on her, right? Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I think that's the wife that's in the car with Renee. That's sad. I didn't stutter. She had a wife, everybody. So she was married to a man. He was a comedian, apparently. He lost his life. He passed away years ago. And then she remarried. And she has a 6-year-old boy, and she's married to another woman. So there you go. There you go.
Complete the statement from Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security, if I could as well. Do you want me to do that right now, Ryan, or do you want me to wait just a minute? Okay. Okay. So let's just kind of let's just watch this for a moment. Again, this is the aftermath.
I mean, if they're not going to play audio, why have that big loud background going on? Like that background noise, it's annoying. But look at all these guys, like, just walking around like modern day pirates with with their freaking bandanas around their faces and stuff. It's dumb. It's dumb. I honestly believe that they should be like their faces should be out. That's just what I truly think, because that makes them feel like it's a whole thing of making them believe that they're above the law, and they're not, right? They're not above the law. So here's another thing too. Here's another thing too, because the sound is driving me crazy. Here's the other thing too. Like if it's them worried about like getting attacked by lefties or something like that, like I saw the comment. I mean, shit exposed. And of course, I think it's Trump again talking about this. Hold on.
Operations when rioters have that operation had put out just a short. We have that up if we want to take that. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers.
Let me just say this really quick. He fired the first time. That's one thing. He fired 3 times, and the other 2 times it was in point blank range in the car. We saw the weapon go into the window. The footage, you can't deny it. He put that whole weapon was inside the car. I'm just saying. So again, I don't know about all that, but okay. I mean, and then I've been seeing other footage of people, like, after the situation happened, there was a lot of aggravated people. There was a lot of protesters showing up being like, what the F, man? And there's an ICE agent that literally, like, shoves the dude, and then he pulls up his weapon and he fires a pepper ball right in the dude's face. Come on now. Come on. Let's see this.
Officers and agents to the Twin Cities.
And just to give you some background, too, on the presence of ICE agents in the lab.
People are actually showing up. People are actually showing up to this. I know we saw it a second ago earlier, but I want to share it again. I mean, people actually showed up to her spot, and of course, they're leaving. They're leaving flowers. They're leaving basically a little memorial, spot for where she lost her life. Right. Yeah, let's take a look at
the victim, and then we're slowly getting more information about the investigation, which will take a lot of time. Any officer involved shooting, the investigation takes months. So while that information is not coming in quickly and won't come in quickly, we are seeing a lot of reaction to what happened today.
Well, this will be a massive investigation because it does have far-reaching implications. Obviously, as many of you out there know, these types of ICE ramp-ups have occurred in other cities throughout the country as well, Chicago being one, Washington, D.C. being another, and there are others that are allegedly on the list that the administration would like to do the same for. Minneapolis was brought to the forefront with all the fraud allegations that occurred in the last several weeks, which is the primary reason, according both to the federal government and state government, why so many agents are here at this point. Historic number of agents, by the way, as of yesterday, more than 2,000. But what happens here was feared to have potentially happened in any one of these cities over the course of the last several weeks as the temperature ramps up between ICE agents and those in the local communities who do not want them there.
And I can say I was working during the detention of 2 people at a
We got more.
site in Chan.
We got more. Hold on, guys. We've got more. Another angle. I think some other stuff was going on here. I'm gonna roll back so we could see a little bit of some stuff, if there is anything that's going on. Shoot, I might go up there. You never know. You never know. I might go up there and see what's going on, see what's popping in Minneapolis, and stream it live. You never know. I might. I just might. We will see.
I'm up live.
I can do better.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it?
I got it. Oh, good. Okay. I'm gonna jump in there in a second.
Just
No,
FYI,
that's
that
it.
was like literally
That's it.
the picture.
Street! Street!
This is all. This is gonna be interesting. Possibly an interesting night. May not be an interesting night at all. You never know. You know, everybody might be just trying to take in that, you know, someone's life was lost
Thank you.
and that this tragedy actually went down. So you never know. They might just be like, no, let us mourn. And then you never know. Tomorrow might be chaos in the streets all day.
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
They better say. Yeah, Christians are so nice. It's like their job to do. They better say. Well, I just like
Why we're here. A woman was murdered. Yeah, they do.
Where the manufacturers? Where's the manufacturing cloud?
In about 8 minutes, Kristi Noem is allegedly going to be holding a press conference in regards to this whole situation that happened out here, which should be very interesting to see what she has to say. Again, I have a feeling like she's just going to repeat the same stuff she just said before, but we'll see. We'll see what she says. Okay, we're going to keep an eye on this. I'm looking to see if there's some of y'all have sent me messages and all that, so I've been looking at the messages. Damn. It has begun. It has begun. Yikes. Hey. Oh, I thought they were going to start going in.
Against Trump with Twin Cities Coalition for Justice. We are standing here to demand freedom for all of our immigrant neighbors. Freedom for all of us who are observing, who are calling out ISIS crimes against all of us. Whether we are citizens or not, we should have the right to protest, to have our First Amendments. And what do? They try to take it from us, just as we have nothing else. They try to take our ability to observe. Say shame! 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 ICE! We're here today because we lost a community member who was doing what was right. She was fighting for her immigrant neighbors, just as so many of us have been. And now she's gone! We cannot let this scare us into stopping our own operations of doing patrols, of helping our community, of doing everything in our power to support the immigrants in our community who are under such a brutal siege in the United States currently. We need to let this incident empower us even further to keep fighting. They're the ones with guns, and they're scared of us. How does that make any sense? And that just shows how much power we have as a collective. That just shows the strength of people power. They are afraid of us with our whistles, with our cell phones, with our cameras. And they should be, that's right. Because when ICE comes to town, we're going to deal with them because Minneapolis knows how to deal with ICE. Thank you all for being here today to hold our power together while we remember a community member that we lost. We're going to have a program of some speakers, so thank you all for...
There's more. We got that press conference, so I'm gonna get that going here. That live stream should be happening soon. And I'm gonna get some of these members chats real quick. So first off, Shars, thank you so much for the love and being a member for the past 2 months. Hey, Pascal, this is so sad no matter how you look at it. Absolutely. See, that's the thing. That's what's so sad about it, because everybody puts aside their care for common, like, human decency, like human life, right? Like, we just suddenly don't care about that when it lands on when it has to do with protecting our bias, right? What happened here is a tragedy, guys. Whether you like to admit it or not, whether you like to say F around and find out, still somebody lost their life. It is still a tragedy. This is still very, very sad. Okay. I don't think she should have not complied. You see what I'm saying? I don't think that that should have happened either. I don't think that the car should have been turned in her direction. We got 5 more minutes on this, right? In that guy's direction. That's very, very sad as well. But at the same time, did he really have to use that kind of force? Did he really have to pull the trigger more than once? Even? Shoot, once at all? So again, like I said, this whole thing is absolutely tragic. Okay? But Shars, thank you so much for the members chat. I really do appreciate it. And we got a new member. So thank you so much, Random the Dime. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting. And just like Random, you can also be random and hit that join button down below and become a member. Support the channel if you can. All right. But as we wait, we're going to, they said 5 more minutes. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep an eye on that. But there's plenty of footage and plenty of coverage going on right now. So I think I'm going to go back over to this feed. Hold on. In fact, I take that back. Let's see this. What? Come on.
Let me ask you to do what you've been doing all day and tell me what's happening on the ground.
There's an interview, so I want to.
Probably maybe he wanted to shoot her. Said that it was. Here we go. Furniture delivery company wasn't that. So do you think that when you said that it was he wanted to shoot him, probably maybe he wanted to shoot her?
Yeah.
That's like a culture in ICE that's like toxicity.
I'm not for sure. I don't want to just go off the hinge with it, but just I know when you're trying to provoke someone, or you just just trying to be doing too much, just doing too much.
Mr. Bentley, do you mind
breaking down what exactly you saw this morning?
Basically, ladies trying to warn everyone ICE is in the neighborhood. Just letting them know, hey, and telling ICE, hey, you're destroying families, whatnot. Stop doing this. Hey, get out of here. Stop that. She reversed so traffic can go by. The pickup truck, gray pickup truck, officer ICE got out and was telling her, hey, didn't tell her anything really, just telling her what I'm going to open up your door and I'm going to get you out. And that's when the shooting happened, and the car took off, and then it sped off and crashed right into the cars.
Can you talk about the agent that was stepped in front of the car?
The way he was in the clear. There was another one at the front part of the car on the driver's side, and there's one right there by the door that's opening, trying to get in the door. Then you have one that's in front of the car that was already coming from the side, and he was just getting clear because he already see that, hey, this person could take off, but maybe I'll try to intimidate you with my gun. But I don't think the lady was looking that way towards the front because she's worried about this.
Someone's trying to get in her door, and
she's 65 years old. I mean, she's probably scared. She's trying to help out and scared at the same time.
And Mr. Bentley, DHS is calling this domestic terrorism. They're saying that the officer shot in self-defense. Does that match up with what you saw this morning?
I have no comment on that. I just can only tell you what I seen, and that's it. That's it. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not none of that. I don't know the law like that, but I just know that I seen what I seen. I didn't, I just felt like the officer shouldn't have shot the gun. That's all. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. And Nicole, what we've seen since this incident is two very different reactions. We've seen as immigration, as Border Patrol, as law enforcement was leaving the scene, confrontations between protesters and those federal agents. We saw a lot of tear gas fired. We saw canisters, one of which I picked up, protesters crying with their eyes in serious pain. And we've seen those protests, which escalated in tension, move away from this scene of where this woman was shot. Separately, you're seeing what you see right now, Nicole, which is Minneapolis community members planting flowers, commemorating the 37-year-old woman who lost her life, still raw from the murder of George Floyd, which happened but 0.4 miles from this very spot.
Damn, that's
5
crazy.
Years ago. Nicole?
Alex, I want you to keep going, but let me just introduce this account from the Minneapolis chief of police, and I'll have you pick it up on the other side. This is what he said transpired. Quote, "The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force." That's local law enforcement. The Secretary of Homeland Security called it domestic terrorism and seemed to speak as though she had all the facts. Stephen Miller has tweeted a similar narrative that seems conclusive in terms of what they believe happened. Donald Trump has done the same.
Yeah, even Dr. Evil has had some things to say about this whole situation. Honestly, not surprised. Hold on. There's some movement going on. They got markers? That's interesting. They're putting markers on the ground. They're spiking the ground. Why? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Everything has to look perfect. Unbelievable. Okay, so we're still waiting for Kristi Noem. Still waiting on Kristi Noem. So hold on. We're coming back to that. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
We are going to be going in just a couple minutes, but I just want to list out for you who all is going to be up at the podium for you today. So, of course, Secretary Noem, Sam Olson, who's the ICE Field Office Director here in St. Paul, Mark Zito, ICE SAC St. Paul, Rafi Matai, DEA ASAC Minneapolis, Jared Smith, FBI Acting SAC, Charles Engel, DSAC HSI Denver, Chief Greg Bavino, Commander at Large, John Condon, EAD, HSI, and Marcos Charles, Executive Associate Director at ERL. If you guys need that, email us at media. You guys probably know that email by now. We've worked together quite a bit, and we will send those to you so you have the spelling and everything correct. But again, probably like about 10 minutes. Since this has been more last minute, we just are getting scrambled to get it all together. So I think 10 more minutes, maybe a little bit less.
10 more minutes of this crap.
Questions. We're going to keep it tight. I'm going to be pretty aggressive, probably about 5 minutes. So yeah, just get your questions in and keep it tight.
So we got 10 more minutes to kill before they have Kristi Noem speak. So we're going to continue looking at other footage that's going on, other coverage, because there's a lot of coverage.
Kids will come home and there's nobody there because ICE took their parents away. I'm sick of hearing the stories.
Hold on.
From there shortly, we got the 5-minute warning about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, we expect to hear in detail.
Let's go back to this.
So when we are under attack, we better fight back.
Uh-oh.
So like I echo the sentiments of Noah that we need to come together, we need to organize, and we need to get ICE out of our city. That's all I say. Thank you very much. I'll do a call and response in Spanish, so just repeat after me. Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos. Y no nos vamos. Y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos. Y no nos vamos. Y no nos vamos. Y si nos echan. Y si nos echan. Nos regresamos. Nos regresamos. Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos. Y no nos vamos. Y no nos vamos. Y
Me confundieron, yo no soy el que él anunció, pero lo únicamente que quiero decirles es que a todos mis hermanos americanos, la gente de la raza blanca y todos los somalianos debemos de unirnos hoy más que nunca. We should be united now more than ever. It doesn't matter what race you are. Let's get together and fight for this. Eso es todo lo que yo les puedo decir, amigos, que podemos votar, que podemos apoyar. Tenemos un grupo de patrulleros de Mayra Guevara y estamos apoyando a la comunidad. Hay que estar unidos todos. Hoy necesitamos más que nunca unirnos, no importa la raza. Gracias. My name is David Lee, and I'm thankful to be here, and I'm glad that we're all here. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, green. We are here for Mrs. Good, and there will be no more injustice. So I want everybody to put their hands together. If you have a lighter, put it up and let's have a...
I want you guys to see this too. Wow. There's some more footage. As we wait for Kristi Noem to speak, there's some more footage here. Wow. Wow. This is nuts. People showing up. Hold on. Wow. Like there was a wide shot. Look at this. Bam. People are showing up. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, it's a beautiful turnout. As long as it stays peaceful, right? But look at how many people are showing up, man. This is no joke. And as we descend into night, people are showing up. And there's no sound to this. I mean, it's all unmuted. There's just no sound to this. They ain't playing, y'all. I mean, like, I just really hope things stay calm tonight. I really do. We'll see, obviously. We will definitely see. Let's see about this press conference. Has she showed up yet? Or is she still in the tanning bed? What's going on? What the heck is going on? Mm-mm-mm. Excuse me. Imagine that. Let's see. How many people have voted on this? Damn, over 2,000 people. Damn. Oh, this poll's very interesting. Make sure to vote when you come in. I know it's like there's a long live you know? So I know not everybody's staying for the whole time that I'm live, but at the same time, when you get in, just vote real quick, you know, because I want to hear your opinions on this too. But let's see. They are still setting that crap up. That's insane. I'm going back over here. That was like the establishing shot we just saw, you know, from above. This is what it looks like down below.
We pray for our sisters. And we will pray for it continuing on. However, we need to maintain the resistance. I don't say burn yourself out. Take care of yourself. We can't take care of anything unless we take care of ourselves first. But we need to be in community. Mutual aid and solidarity isn't just a word. It is an experience. It is an act that we choose every second of the day. We will continue to need the whistles. We will continue to need bodies outside, monitoring license plates and notifying people. Because when people hear those whistles, when people heard those car honks,
Yeah, the volume's not. That's as loud as it gets, y'all.
a threat is nearby. They knew to either scram or to hide or to be safe. It shouldn't be this way, but guess what? It is this way. So what I'm saying is, who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. And however you do that, however you did that today, that made a fucking difference. Protect our neighbors. We kept people from getting kidnapped. We're going to continue to need that. Take care of each other. Stay vigilant. Stay militant. Right now, the inevitable happens, right? Horrific. But what they want is for us to make a mistake. Don't give them that. They want us to pop up. And we know we can pop up. Right? Be militant. Be intentional and show up for each other.
Okay. Press conference is about to happen.
Say her name. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good.
We'll be back to this, I promise. Press conference is about to pop off.
Okay, perfect. All right.
They
Yes,
had
we can turn it up.
this is crazy. They had markers on the ground for people where they could stand. Like this whole thing.
1, 2, audio check. Levels coming up.
It's crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This must look beautiful.
Good. That's what you get. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Malt check. 1, 2, 3. Good. Let's call it there. All right.
Come on, fix that, bro. Come on, fix that, homie. What in the hell? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start out by addressing the loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis today. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation, it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues, and is now with family. I encourage thee for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis. We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks, and this must stop. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them. In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well. And let me remind you why we're all here in this city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens. Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he would work to protect them from dangerous criminals. Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during Mayor Frye's tenure as well. Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets here in Minneapolis. He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes. Because Governor Walz and Mayor Frye refuse to protect Minnesotans and instead they protect these criminals, that's why we are here. And we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars. This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to ensure that criminal activity is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets. Our law enforcement has arrested murderers, known and suspected terrorists, child pedophiles, and other brutal criminals that were protected here in this city. We should all work together to protect our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Secretary, no, Mayor Frye called the claims of self-defense BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this individual was harassing and impeding law enforcement operations. Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation, and took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Secretary, can you expand on the agent's injuries? The president said that he felt he was alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
Can you clarify whether he was looking for accident
I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation and release more facts when it's appropriate. No, we're following the standard protocol procedures we do in situations like this. When there's an officer involved shooting, we make sure that we get the facts and that we are getting the statements from everybody involved and make sure that investigators are handling the decisions. No, we're still out on the streets doing our work to get dangerous criminals off of the streets of Minneapolis. You know, Tim and I have known each other for years. We served in Congress together. We both ran for governor the same year and have served as governor at the same times. So we were colleagues and we discussed what happened here today. We have two very different viewpoints of it. I talked specifically about the fact that we have laws. They need to be enforced. He knows that I believe sanctuary policies have protected criminals and placed a priority of them over the citizens that live here. And he knows we'll continue to do our work. And I encouraged him to work with us. We've never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done investigations, whenever we've done police work, when we've been doing what we can to bring people to justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation of the state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officers, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss. They were grateful today that the police chief and local law enforcement showed up at the scene and helped secure it to make sure that nobody was harmed and that the FBI could do their work. But I would encourage them to work with us, that we could form a partnership that would make sure that individuals have the opportunity to have a safe Minneapolis. Over here. You know, it's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon. Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon. So I do believe that this officer used his training in this situation, and we'll let the FBI continue the investigation to get it resolved. I know you keep asking that, but that doesn't mean that the FBI is going to give you an answer today. There will be an investigation. We want to make sure that it's factual. What I would ask is that as we go forward from here today, that we all remember that our job is to have peaceful discussions. I'd encourage our local law enforcement and state law enforcement to work with us. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota to make sure we're going after dangerous criminals. One of the key focuses that we've had here is a focus on individuals who are sexual predators and are involved in child exploitation. When I was just here yesterday, we arrested individuals who were charged with criminal assault and sexual assault and people that exploited children. Why would you want to keep them on your streets? President Trump has promised to go after the worst of the worst, and that's exactly what we're doing in Minneapolis. By not working with us, Governor Walz and Mayor Fry are putting those criminals and prioritizing them over our children and our grandchildren. And that's simply not true. He said that to me on the phone too. So I'll get him the documentation that he needs so that he knows that we would love to coordinate with him. He doesn't give us access to any information on criminals, let us know who he's detained, doesn't honor our detainers, and has individuals and criminals in his jurisdiction that he won't turn over us today too. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you explain the difference between that incident and today? Was a firearm discharged then? If not, what was it? I won't speak to that case right now, but we can get you the details and the information on that. But the facts of the matter is he's an experienced officer. He's been in situations like this before, and he certainly has been out there and followed his training today. You know, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better. That hasn't been a part of the discussion. I know Governor Walz mentioned some of that earlier in his press conference. But we've got law enforcement officers here that will continue to work, and we're hopeful that the public recognizes that the work that we do every day makes America safe again. With that, we had law enforcement officers that were out there doing an enforcement action, and a vehicle got stuck in the snow, and so they had called other people to come and help them get that vehicle out. Those officers were trying to free the vehicle when the harassment started, when the protesters were out there impeding their vehicles and preventing them from leaving the scene. I won't speak to that.
Were they on the trial that person maybe committed?
Mm-mm.
Full body count.
Mm-hmm. I will let the FBI decide.
Yeah.
Were they on target?
Okay.
They were returning back to headquarters, I believe, to start a new operation, had just completed one. Well, thank you. What's that? I was one of the vehicles that ICE officers were using. But remember, when we operate in a task force model. So we have other federal agencies that work with us, and we're very grateful for that. We have CBP officers, the FBI, DEA, ATF, all of those all work with us every day in a task force model, and we appreciate it. We'd love to have the state police, and we'd also love to have the Minneapolis police chief and his team be alongside of us while we're out there doing those enforcement operations. With that, we'll get you more information as it is revealed, but thank you and everybody. Let's work together to make sure that we can continue to help the city be safer, get more criminals off the streets, and ensure that our public has the opportunity to pursue the American dream in a city they can be proud of. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. And that was that. They ended that one quick. Well, you heard her perspective. What do you think? Did that work? Did that suffice for you?
Vehicle was in the road.
So now she's saying that kind of thing should be considered, using your car on an officer or an agent should be considered domestic terrorism. This is what she's saying now. This is what she believes. And now she's going to try to make that a thing, right? So that's very interesting. Let's see what's going on over here.
Let's make that commitment. It is a marathon, not a sprint. We need everybody. We need all of you. And in this moment, we must demand justice for Renee Good by any means necessary.
No justice! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No peace! No justice! No peace! No peace! No peace! Thank you so much, J-Lo.
Hi guys, my name's Jana Williams. I'm with Justice for Allison. I actually didn't have anything prepared at all today to speak about. My heart hurts. My heart hurts right now. It's hard for me to not, I'm fighting back tears on this. One of these strong women in our community died today right here, defending the Black, the brown, and the Indigenous community. Do you guys know how important this is to me and how big this is to us as an Indigenous community and the Black communities to have the sympathizers in the white community? This was a little girl that gave her life to, well, actually it was stolen. Her life was stolen by these big institutions that we are dealing with here in Minnesota and America. Right now, I just want you guys, I want to introduce these very strong equays right here. They're going to come up here and they're going to sing for you. These are some young ladies that I absolutely adore. They have my heart all the way. So come on up, girls.
We're coming back to that. I'm just seeing if there's any more news coming out here. Just 1 second.
They are able to obtain, and whether or not they're.
I got two of these doggone things. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, there's more footage of them like carrying her, getting her out of the car and carrying her down the street. Oh, dang. And then trying to preserve life. Oh, it's sad. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad, y'all. Hold on. I'm just seeing if there's anything else here real quick. Hold on, guys. 1 second. But yeah, I'm not going to show you that footage. It's a little bit graphic. Let's take a look at this. This is kind of old now. It's dark out. Nah, never mind. I take that back. The footage isn't that great, but oh, yeah, the reception is in there. It's pretty trashy, I'm sure. Hold on. Okay, we're going here. Reporter
here, and also that traffic moves, but still some angry folks in traffic, as well as a large group of folks in the vigil in front of the scene where this shooting happened. Starting this morning, it was mostly neighbors who had gathered out on the sidewalks by the time I got here, and I have to say, to a person, they were all stunned at what had happened, and they said it was quite shocking for this to happen, to wake them up, some of them, or to interrupt their breakfasts or whatever, just to know. A lot of them had heard those car horns like that and the whistles that indicated that ICE had been on their street. On Portland Avenue, they say they heard that pretty frequently over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but it always kind of just kept going. And this time it stopped, and that's what drew their attention out to the streets. A little context, again, I'll mention outside of what we've seen from the videos, it's kind of hard to hear if there's even audio in those videos, but a lot of the witnesses I talked to, and I talked to more than 10 of them who lived along Portland Avenue here. And according to several of them, what happened just before the video, or what you might have heard if you had audio on that video, was that woman who was behind the wheel getting conflicting orders from ICE agents. So you could see where her car was. Well, some agents, according to these witnesses, were telling her to leave. And so she was. Other agents, though, had started trying to get into her vehicle. And then that's when the shooting occurred. And so, according to them, she was getting conflicting orders, and she was trying to follow some of those orders. Apparently, according to Secretary Noem, she wasn't following all of the orders, and that's what led to this shooting. Got to say, the witnesses also, I don't want to, characterize their politics too much, but I think that they all have similar perspectives here. The neighbors all kind of felt the same way, and they all live in community together. But from their perspective, from what they saw, and some of them, are in the videos or were taking those videos that we've seen. From their perspective, there wasn't a risk to anybody there. That, again, that's their perspective, but that's universal along Portland Avenue and the neighbors who live there. The rest of the day, it would ebb and flow as far as the crowds out here. As I arrived just a little after 10 o'clock, I saw Minneapolis police kind of escorting a lot of ICE agents away from this area. That was happening before we got here and after we got here, but not for long. ICE cleared out. The crowds kind of died down as there were no more ICE agents out here. However, people started to get word from outside of the neighborhood, and they started showing up here as well. And so at one of the intersections where they were probably about 50 yards away from the scene of the shooting, Minneapolis police and Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies were getting a lot of grief for, carrying out their roles as the kind of protectors of the peace, the ones to make sure that, the protesters didn't cross any lines and that, there was no further violence between the law enforcement and the folks who were out here. But again, that would ebb and flow. And then, as the day went on, I have to say that during one of our attempts at reporting live, one of the members of the audience started shouting expletives and kind of interrupted our attempt at live reporting. A crowd gathered around us, and eventually we were asked to move. If we went across the street, we'd still be safe, they told us. So we went across the street, crowd got even bigger surrounding us, and we had to leave. We did not feel safe ourselves any longer, although there was no violence aimed at us. It just did not feel safe for live reporting when, folks are shouting expletives at us as we're trying to report. So, we got away from that, but the crowd has continued to grow. We see more and more folks going down there, whether to join the vigil or just to, be in the place where it happened. And
yeah, we're going to look at that here because there's some live coverage going on. But again, there's not much. There's no sound to it. There's no narration. There's no commentary or anything of that sort, but it is something nonetheless. Hold on. So you can see here. As I get some more stuff here. Hold on. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, guys, this is a lot of people showing up. A lot of people showing up. Whole lot of people showing up. There is a video I want to share with you guys. There's another perspective. Somebody else who saw things. Apparently, it's a witness saying that the woman was actually driving purposely, impeding ICE vehicles. She was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, is what this woman said. And of course, we already know the woman is Renee, the one woman who lost her life. Her name is Renee Nicole Good. Okay. So apparently Good lived in the Twin Cities with her partner, and they just recently moved there. That's according to reports from the wife. Okay. Or her partner, wife, partner, however you say it. Okay. So that's very interesting. But we got this account from this person, this other witness that saw things. And you saw, like, in the video, the woman, like, the car was perpendicular, right? It was perpendicular to the traffic. It was there. There was another car that was there too, and it seemed like it drove off because it didn't want to get in trouble. But they were blocking traffic. Like, they were out there, like, I guess maybe blocking traffic and maybe filming ICE having trouble with being in the snow and whatnot. So that's something that's very interesting. But again, this woman here is claiming, she's claiming that, like, this girl purposely blocked traffic, and then of course was, and then she says the rest of what's going on, or what the rest of what she saw. Let's take a look.
I woke up to some commotion. I heard some whistles going on out front, so I came downstairs to see what was going on. Wasn't even dressed, and there was a car, the Honda Pilot that's crashed over there now. There was a car blocking the 2 lanes of Portland traffic, and the ICE agents got out and they were saying, "Get out of here, get out of here!" And she was what looked like trying to turn around, and the ICE agent was in front of her car, and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, like, his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face, like 3-4 times. And then she must have just stepped on the gas. She stepped on the gas immediately, maybe got like 100 feet or so, and ran into the telephone pole and some cars, and then was slumped over in her car. And you could see she was probably gone. And there was a medic. There was a neighbor who's a physician who was yelling, "Can I please check the pulse?" There was no first responders. There were 0 first responders. They left her in her car, slumped over for about 10-15 minutes, blocking us all. And eventually EMS got here, and they wouldn't let the bus in, so it was just the EMS workers, and they checked her out for a second, maybe 5 minutes or so, and then carried her out, no stretcher or anything, carried her out like a sack of fucking potatoes.
Can you describe a little bit about what this woman looked like? Was there anyone else in the car with her? Did you know if she was the target?
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
Do you have a read on her demographic?
I think she was a white woman. Looked like I didn't see her when she was alive. Just slumped over in the car. It looked like she had dyed short curly hair. I have a video of her in the car. But yeah, no other.
Okay, so you got that, guys, right? She sees this and she's like, okay, she was trying to stir the pot. She was there to, like, mess with ICE and all that, and that's clear. I think that's very, very clear. But does that mean that she should no longer be here on this planet? No. Yeah, I think she was definitely, like, provoking, messing with ICE. F you, ICE, get out of our town, ICE, blah, 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 right? But again, this situation it's bad. It's very bad. Danielle just said this, serial chiller. I see what you did there. She says, Pascal, according to Trump, this agent was run over and is in the hospital. Why do I not see this in any view? Run over, hospital, really? Yeah, guys, here's the thing. He said that, but that's not entirely true. All right. He used selective words to make it seem like something that is not actually true. Or maybe he just didn't see the whole video in its entirety. Like, he didn't go, hey, Melania, can you run it back? Run that back for me one more time. You just see what I'm saying? He didn't bother to look back and see what was going on there. So he just wrote and said he got ran over, and he pulled off a few shots in the meantime, and now he's in the hospital. Now, we just heard from Kristi Noem. She said, yeah, he was in the hospital. He was sent to the hospital, but now he's with his family. Now he's gone. He's fine. He's with his family. Why did he need to go to the hospital? I still don't know why he needed to go to the hospital, because from what I saw, from the likes I saw, he was walking just fine and doing his thing, unless he hurt his hand when he put his hand in the car while pulling the trigger in the face of this woman, Renee Nicole Good. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of. But yeah, Trump used it and kind of played with the words a little bit to make it more dramatic. That's the way I see it. Or he just didn't see the whole doggone video, see the end of it. You see what I'm saying? And he just added to the story. You see what I'm saying? It's either or. It could be both at the same time. You never know. But it just seems weird to me that he would say, oh, you know, that agent is now in the hospital. He's doing fine, though. Thank God. He's fine. When in actuality, he never was ran over. And there would be no reason for him to show up to the hospital unless he had a panic attack. Unless he had a panic attack. So again, like I said, he lost me at Epstein a while ago, guys. He lost me a while ago. All right. And all this stuff is all this is very, very bad. And they keep coming up with more and more excuses and more things to make it look worse than it is. Because it's like, oh, you don't do that to ICE. You don't do that to our ICE people. And it's like, okay, fine. You don't do that to ICE people. Fine. You don't do that you don't try to run over anybody for that matter. You just don't, right? But at the same time, I just don't see that that was her attempt. I just don't see that. I see her trying to speed off so she doesn't get arrested or detained, because the last thing anybody wants to do is get arrested, right? So, just my personal opinion. Not everybody wants to be. No one likes to be locked up. It's terrible. Sounds terrible, right? So again, pretty interesting. Hold on, let me see this.
Representative Betty McCollum, her district neighbors, the district where this shooting happened. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to get your initial reaction.
Well, I represent St. Paul. We're the Twin Cities. And right now, what's happening in Minneapolis, I so much respect what Mayor Frey said. We need the public to be calm. We need peaceful protests. We need to let the Bureau of Minnesota Criminal Investigations work alongside with the FBI. I thank the Minneapolis police for securing a crime scene immediately. And Kristi Noem should have at least maybe looked at a video before she made the statement that she did.
We haven't seen
Secretary Noem to.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting. We haven't seen anything that happened before that video. We don't know the context of what led up to it, and I want to be very clear about that. All we have to go on is the moments immediately preceding the shooting and the witness statements. Have you been?
Who said liabetes? That's hilarious. Who said liabetes? That is pretty funny. That is funny. Whoever said that, that's funny. That's funny. Okay.
Able to gather any more information about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, listen to what she said and how she said that the shooting took place because someone was in imminent danger. You don't see that in the video. So we need a full investigation. I totally agree on that.
How do you get a full investigation on DHS?
Good question.
DHS?
Sorry. And the other question is, do they actually wear body cam footage? I forgot to ask that when they asked Kristi Noem about, are we going to be able to get body cam footage to see what actually happened? And then she's like, well, it would be up to the FBI if they want to release that information, which means we'll never see it, in other words. But here's the thing. Do they wear a body cam footage? Does ICE wear body cam footage? I thought that they were above everything. I thought that they march to the beat of their own little drummer boy. So what the heck is that, right? They have body cam footage for real, for real?
Yes. It's my understanding that the FBI and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in Minnesota are going to work together in a joint way to get to the bottom of what happened. And that's what needs to happen. We need to have justice for this victim.
The FBI has said it will partner with Minnesota in order to investigate this?
that is what's been reported in the media.
Got it. Tell me a little bit about your community, because it's been 6 years now, maybe a little less than 6 years, 5 years since George Floyd. Obviously, tensions have receded a bit since then, but they're certainly back up now. What is it like for your community to go through something like this again?
Well, St. Paul and Minneapolis, as I said, we're twin sisters. So this happened in Minneapolis, and we care greatly about justice being brought to bear for the death of this woman who was shot using over force that was just not necessary to be used at that point, from what I have seen in the videos. What our communities do is they have worked, Minneapolis in particular has worked really hard on de-escalation. In the video that I saw no ICE trying to do any kind of de-escalation with this woman. As you said, I don't know what happened immediately before then, but just the video that's out there, it is appalling to me that ICE agents appear to be acting in a way that is really rogue, and something that many of us have feared would happen has happened today, sadly, for the victim who is no longer with us and her family, and for our communities, that a person has now been murdered.
Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, has demanded that ICE get out of the city. What would be your advice? Say they don't get out of the city. What would be your advice to anybody who wants to continue to protest ICE enforcement?
My advice to Secretary Noem is to cease and desist ICE operations until we have the department going forward doing a complete investigation and we get to the bottom of this. And if people are going to go out and express their outrage, we can do it in a peaceful way. We do that in Minnesota a lot. And we're prepared to do that all across the state, to stand up for our rights, to not be the victims of an overuse of force by any agent, especially these ICE agents who appear to do nothing more but sow chaos in communities. And, that's all I have to say. President Trump and Kristi Noem and the whole Department of Health and Human Services, they want to, and Homeland Security, they want to create chaos. Well, they're creating the chaos. We're not going to take the bait.
Yeah, this is all this is one huge cluster F. Truly one huge cluster F. Okay, guys. Well, all right. Let me get some of these super chats in here and all that. So General Genobi, what up? Thank you so much for the love. They're saying the agent has run off after pulling the trigger on this person and is gone. She was a legal observer. She moved her car as told, and they pew-pewed her 4 times. Well, now we understand there was 3. And again, still no matter what, 3 times in the face. Wasn't just like, you see what I'm saying? 3 times in the face. That's crazy. 3 times. So again, General Genobi, it's like they said that he went to the hospital, that he didn't run away, that he didn't run off, but that still remains to be seen, right? We still don't know if that's true or not. That's what they want to let us believe. You see what I'm saying? Which is just messed up. Immortal Badass, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the love. ICE was escalating raids weeks before this. Excuse me, before this, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah. They've been there for a while. That is true. So, like I said, people aren't happy about them being there and all that too. So, it was a recipe for disaster, especially when you ramp up the amount of agents and you deploy more than in the history of ICE agents ever. You know what I mean? Like that gets bad. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to react in a violent and in a protesting type of way. Right. IB for sports. Thank you so much for the love. F the Trump administration. F in criminals. F in criminals. Oh, sorry. Yeah. the administration kind of sucks balls. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people would be like, rah, about it, but I have to say it. I'm sorry. If you didn't catch the memo already, if I say out loud, like they're lying to us in real time every day, all the time. And it all started with Epstein. God knows if there was other things before that. They've been lying to us since then. I mean, shoot, then you ain't listening to the show. Okay. I am always going to side eye them until they actually produce some good things. Like I say, they go, oh yeah, the economy is doing great. It's better than it's ever before. Let's see the proof. Where is that? Right. Other things like that. Right. We're here to change the regime of this terrorist of a leader in Venezuela. No, you're really there for the loot. You're there for the oil. Just be real. Right. Then it's this whole thing. Trump is trying to be like, we're just trying to take down these tyrannical individuals. But in actuality, we heard the quiet part out loud from Stephen Miller himself, Dr. Evil, when he said, we're trying to build a superpower. That's what he said with Jake Tapper. So again, it's not. I'm side-eyeing the hell out of this ish now. Come on now. Until something goes right, and stop with the BS. Stop with the gaslighting. Stop with the lies. Stop with the blatant cover-ups that are going on right now. Okay. Crystal, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you are doing. Of course, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Grateful. You sounded like Fat Albert. Hey. I guess I did kind of sound like him too. I don't know why I thought of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. But anyway, let's get on. Mediocre Mama, thank you so much for the love. He said he would be a president for all. His words say otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the other side of that, right? I'm waiting for him to be, the president for all, right? I'm still waiting for that too. Personally, I'm still waiting for that. All right. Anyway, Crash, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. It's cold here in Minneapolis, but we will show up and turn out, all of us. Yeah, we're seeing it right now. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about, just so you guys can see this while I go through these other super chats. But y'all are showing up. Yeah, y'all are showing up and showing out for sure. I mean, this is an absolute tragedy. So I get it. I absolutely get it. Why people were going to show up, Ree, thank you so much for the love. He's in the hospital because he had a diabetes attack. That's where it is. He had a diabetes attack. That's funny. I love it. Anyway, the Barbie mommy, thank you so much for the love. ICE agents act like savages because of the orange turd. They know no consequences will follow after. That's the problem. They're all masked up. They can go up and pepper spray anyone at any time that they want. If somebody just says something to them, I've seen countless videos of guys that just will say like, F you, bro, or some of that sort, right? And they will just shoot point blank range a freaking pepper ball in the face of that person that's just not happy that they're there, right? They have the right to say what they want to say. They have the right to say F you. That's freedom of speech. But they do not have the right, and they should not have the right to pull any type of trigger in the face of anybody. Real talk. But because they're all masked up and they're all covering their identity, they can do whatever the hell they want. I don't think that's cool. Just saying. Isabella, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. The agent had a phone out when it happened. Was he recording it too? Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe he was recording it. Maybe he was trying to record it for footage for their, for their sizzle reels that they put together. Let's not forget, Kristi Noem went down. She was up there in Minneapolis to be there to get some more footage of her out there, boots on the ground, bulletproof vest, looking all tactical and stuff, Botox popping, lip gloss popping, tan popping. She went up there to get footage. Why? For more propaganda. Look at how dope we are and how badass our ICE agents are. Come join us. Come be recruited by us. You get a bonus, signing bonus check, and we pay off all your debts. All you got to do is just go where we tell you to go and get all of them brown and black people, immigrants. Get them all. That's messed up, y'all. It's messed up. And now we have somebody, there's been other people that have actually been shot in the past, but they're still alive. They're still alive to tell the tale. This is the first time that we've seen someone actually lose their lives at the hands of ICE. And these are all guys that we don't even know who these people are. We don't know if they're properly trained, properly vetted. We don't know anything about these guys at all. There's all kinds of theories about them being a part of the Proud Boys or some extremist groups and stuff like that that have been recruited and blah, blah, blah. We don't know anything. All we do know is that they're out here. They're covering their faces and they're doing a whole lot of crazy stuff out here that a lot of people are not cool with. And now they now have a death on their shoulders. It's not good. See, one thing that doesn't make sense to me is why is it that they're using why weren't they using pepper spray? Why are they using a weapon like that? And why are they even authorized to do that? You're supposed to go out there and detain. That's it. Detain these mother lovers. That's all. You got people who are protesting? Okay. But why would you have a pew pew? And then why would this guy, because some corners are going to look at him. They're going to start as soon as his name and his identity is released to the world. There's going to be a part of the world that's going to say that he is a hero. Wait for it. You don't think Trump is going to sit there and say that this guy is a hero? He did this in the line of fire. He did this in the line of duty. That he was doing this for his country. Wait for it. It's coming. It's the same stuff that happened with the J6 stuff, y'all. I know that pisses off some people, but yeah, same thing with the J6 stuff. They're all true patriots. That's what they are. That's what they are. True patriots. That's what they are. So again, wait for it. He'll be glorified in some corner, some neck of the woods, saying that he did the right thing and he did everything all the rights to do what he did and blah, blah, blah. Right. And then, of course, like I'm seeing in the chat, people are going to be out here calling Nicole Good an absolute domestic terrorist, because now that's she has been labeled as. Do I think that what she did was an act of domestic terrorism? No, I don't. It'd be a different thing if she I just don't think that she was running that car and trying to run over a dude. I just don't see it. I just didn't see it like that. I think she was just trying to get away. I don't think she was trying to run over a dude. I think she was just trying to get away. But we have seen other videos of other protesters literally ram their cars into ICE vehicles. Yes, that is bad. You see what I'm saying? That is bad. That is clearly an act of doing something to cause harm. This I just don't see that part. I just don't. I just don't think that act deserves termination of life. But I think there's a combination of all bad things happening all at the same doggone time. You see what I'm saying? So, she made bad choices. This ICE agent made a bad choice. And now we're here. Now we have people. Right now, it's not really I don't see it as a protest. I see people gathering and saying, paying their respects to Renee Nicole Good. That's what I see. But the protesting, I'm sure, is going to start to erupt here very, very soon. Okay. But I'm going to probably have to hop back on with you guys in a couple hours when this whole thing goes. Okay. Yes. And you're right. You're right, Messi. There are going to be people out here. Okay. There are going to be people out here that are good. Yeah, it definitely goes both ways. Absolutely. They're going to say that she's, she sacrificed her life for X, Y, and Z, when it's like, well, I think they both sides, like both moments, both sides made very bad choices at the same doggone time. They're also saying that she may not have understood what was going on because there were two, like, other agents were saying two different things at the same time. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't see any rioting right now. I don't personally see any of that. I see them all here quietly, okay, we'll just say protesting. Yes, we'll say protesting. All right. But they are all quietly protesting out here, quietly. So far. But, I'm going to keep an eye on this for sure. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this. Yeah, they're not quite. They're not quite over here. Okay, they're definitely not quite over here. Hold on. They got a snare drum and everything. Look at this.
Donald Trump, let's be clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Donald Trump, let's be clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Donald Trump, let's be clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Donald Trump, let's be clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
I'm kind of I'm waiting for where's the little guy with the little flautist. You know what I'm saying? And he's got like a bandana or like a wound, bandage wrapped around his head. He's got a little limp, but he's still playing that flute. You know what I mean? He's still playing that flute like the Dickens. You know what I'm saying? Where the piccolo, whatever, the piccolo or the flute. Where's that flautist? You know what I mean? Just, where's that? But as you guys can see, there's still stuff going on. Okay. And like I said, I will be back on most likely if, just to see what's going on, to cover some more of this protest in just a little bit. But I got to take a little bit of a break. But I will be back in a little bit to talk to you guys and cover some more of this, because they are not done. I mean, they are not done. They are clearly not done. But they are clearly not done at all. And I feel like this is going to go into the wee early morning, wee early hours of the morning. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, but that is the show for now. I'll be back in a little bit, guys, I promise, because there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so please do me a favor before you head out. Thank you all for the super chats and all that. And to my mods, thank you so much for holding it down as always. Okay, but please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. I'm also on TikTok. Don't forget, go follow me right now on The Pascal Show 1. All right, I started a new account. I could really use the help. Love to get to the first 1,000 followers. That would be amazing. So please go over there on TikTok. It's called The Pascal Show 1. Okay, go over there, show some love, and follow. Okay, hit that subscribe button here. Of course, right here. Subscribe over at the Pascal Show clips as well. Check out Pascal Raw too. All right, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out PascalMerch.com. All right. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Stay safe out there. If you are in the Minneapolis area, we will be covering more very, very soon. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.